Back in the Superdome, I'm Mark Jones along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins. Frank Beamer says that we must take advantage of this opportunity presented to us today. It's a chance to move up in the college football hierarchy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, John Mackovic enjoying his best year this year. He's the guy with the headset on. 10-1-1. He says every game is a big game for Texas fans and players because of these high expectations. Todd, a look at the game stories for Texas.
The first, Mark, they must handle Cornell Brown. He is an impact player that can get after the quarterback. They have to maintain their balanced attack. To do that, they have to have some success running the football against the nation's best, and they must have solid kick protection. Virginia Tech has blocked 8 kicks this season, including 4 punts.
Well, Texas has won the toss and has decided to receive. That's Adel Larson kicking off, and he will kick off to a very dangerous kickoff returner, Mike Adams. Look at that very healthy average, 24.5 yards per return. It's the 1995 Nokia Sugar Bowl. Here we go. Adams at the 11. Looking for a seam on the left side, and Adams is brought down at the 36-yard line. A tackle made by Keon Carpenter. And there's a look at James Brown, the starting quarterback for the Longhorns. All year he has fought injuries, a shoulder injury and an ankle injury, but he is the healthiest now that he has ever been. Out of Beaumont, Texas. An impressive 13-1-1 as a starter.
And they were able to give him about 3 weeks rest. Pretty good at the end of the season. Take a look at the backs and receivers. Michael Adams, who returned that kickoff, also the most dangerous wide receiver for James Brown.
Adams about 25 yards on that kickoff return. Mitchell and Williams split behind James Brown. 1st and 10, they immediately start with 3 wideouts. This is how James Brown can hurt you. He can improvise. This time, though, he's tackled. Texas players calling for a late hit out of bounds, but they won't get it. Cornell Brown, number 58, chased down James Brown.
It was no late hit, Mark. James Brown, 2 good things to see here. The ankle looks good for James Brown on the sticky turf. He plants, he starts and stops a couple times, and then still has the speed and acceleration to get to the sideline. But you see the speed and the chase down ability of Cornell Brown. He plays from sideline to sideline, and he plays that way all the way through the ball game.
Cornell Brown breaking his silence just yesterday. Did not speak to the media the entire week. His play speaking volumes right now, though. 2nd down and long, flag down. This is Ricky Williams. Williams tackled after a gain of about 2 yards, running off tackle over the left side, over Brooks and Elmore. Brought down by Cornell Brown. Our officials today out of the ACC. Our referee, Michael Dover.
Penalty was against Virginia Tech offsides. They lined up offsides. Nobody jumped offsides.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
You got great pass rushers like Virginia Tech has, Mark. They like to try to get as close to that line of scrimmage as they can, get any bit of an edge to get to the quarterback. That time they were over the line of scrimmage when they lined up.
It'll be 2nd down and 9 to go. 3 wideouts for the Horns. Davis is in the slot to the right of Brown. Hand off to Ricky Williams. Williams out over the 40-yard line, down to the 41. Nice hold that time over the left side. The left guard, Corby Brooks, with a nice block. Brandon Simona is making the tackle for the Hokies. There's a look at the men up front.
Dan Neal, an All-American at guard. He played center in his career. He's more suited at the guard position, and the emergence really of the center, Ryan Fiebiger, allowed them to move Dan Neal to the right guard, and that has really strengthened this offensive line for Texas.
It's going to be a nice matchup to watch between the 2 lines today. The Texas offensive line and the front 7 for Virginia Tech. 3rd down, 3 to go. The Horns on its opening series. Brown's going to pass. Fires, and it's incomplete. Dropped by Adams at the 48. You won't see that happen often. Mike Adams dropped it after having the 1st down.
Virginia Tech was able to get enough pressure on James Brown that time to force him to throw off of his back foot. Now, James Brown doesn't have an exceptionally strong arm. He's an accurate thrower, but if you can get him to lean back on that back foot and not step into the throw, you're going to get him to throw more bad passes than not. And that time, good pressure forced him to throw him off his back.
Right, Mark Schultes into punt now, averaging 40.4 on the season. Kicking to Larry Green, who's standing on his 15-yard line. Schultes has had a very good year, the coaches say. He's placed a lot of balls inside the 20-yard line. Look out for Angelo Harrison, though, number 83. This time he doesn't come for the Hokies. He's blocked a lot of punts. The fair catch called at the 22. Green takes it 3 yards out to the 26-yard line after a 36-yard punt. Tyson Cutter making the tackle.
Mark, what Virginia Tech has to do in the ballgame, a very similar start for them. They must handle a defensive lineman from Texas, Tony Brackens. He also is an impact player. They've got to get the ball down the field to Brian Still. He's their big play receiver, and they must have a disciplined pass rush on James Brown. That last third down play, they stayed in their lanes. They forced him to stay in the pocket and throw off his back foot. They've got to do that consistently.
Jim Druckenmiller, the 6'4", 222-pound junior, is running this no-huddle offense, and he will try to pass on 1st and 10. It's complete, then dropped, and ruled incomplete now at the 28-yard line. Brian Edmonds, the fullback, dropped the pass. Druckenmiller is strong. I mean, he is maybe the strongest player pound for pound on that Hokie squad. He's wise, he's poised, he runs the no-huddle offense well, Todd, but mobility is one of his drawbacks.
Oh, he's not the most mobile guy, but what he can do is he's strong enough to stay in that pocket and get hit and still be able to look downfield and make throws, and that's really his greatest asset, his strength in the pocket.
Edmonds and Thomas out of the eye. This is Dwayne Thomas. Thomas hammering his way down to the 28-yard line, picked up 3, tackled by Stoney Clark, number 55, and Trey Thomas, number 17. A look now at the backs and the receivers for the Hokies. Brian Still, the dangerous wideout for the Hokies, led them in receiving this year. Jermaine Holmes also with very good speed.
Brian Still actually hurt his shoulder in the opening ball game against BC, returning a kick. And when he was out of the lineup, they really missed him because they suffered some not having him as their big play down the field receiver. With him in the lineup, they're a much better offensive football team.
Druckenmiller with his heavy baritone, Barry White voice, barking out instructions. 3rd down and 6. Complete to Still, and Still is near the 1st down marker at the 35. It's going to depend a lot on the spot. Kyle Richardson making the tackle for the Horns. Still 6 feet, 175 pounds, a senior. 4th in the Big East in receiving yardage, averaging 69 yards per game. Looks like they're going to measure for the 1st down. Just that far away, maybe 6 inches. And Coach Frank Beamer is going to send on his punting team.
Good decision by Coach Beamer. I mean, there's no point in getting risky at this point in the ball game. Your first possession, you want to let the jitters kind of work themselves out. This is an electric atmosphere. Everybody's a little bit nervous right now. Get a nice punt. Let your defense go back on the field.
John Thomas into punt, standing on his own 21. Low snap. Texas comes after it a bit, and Thomas gets off a high spiraling punt. Back at the 23-yard line, Cornelius White is brought down. A 43-yard punt, nothing on the return. We'll be right back. Back inside the Superdome, a look at the Hokies front 7. George Del Rico, the leading tackler on that defensive unit.
5th-year senior out of Seabrook, Maryland, is just kind of an all-around good college linebacker. May not be a pro-style middle linebacker, but he's been a very productive player for Virginia Tech in his career.
A look at the Southwest Conference's most efficient passer, James Brown, with his backs out of the eye. Adams in motion, the handoff. They try to run between the tackles. There's a flag down at the 23-yard line. 2nd flag of the game. Last time we saw the Hokies line up offside, the tackle made by Coleman and Gray. Here's the call from our official. against Virginia Tech again.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Look at the secondary now. Torian Gray, a.k.a. Big Play Torian Gray, the Rover. And William Yarbrough led the team in interceptions this year.
Torian Gray's a guy to watch. He's an exciting player, the most versatile player on this Virginia Tech defense. He'll line up all over the field for him.
1st and 5 to go. Brown's going to pass. Quick 3-step drop. Has Adams at the 41-yard line. Adams with Texas's first down of the ball game. A 14-yard pickup. George Del Rico making the tackle. They call him the playmaker, and he makes plays. He's caught a pass now in 26 consecutive games.
That's a good read by James Brown. Now, every time he sees Virginia Tech line up with 8 guys in the box here, he knows he's got single coverage on the outside. Michael Adams is his best receiver. No help underneath until late. And a nice throw and catch. James Brown to Michael Adams. Virginia Tech, if they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage, James Brown knows he has to throw the football outside.
Adams now split wide to the top of your screen, but they hand it off to Ricky Williams, the true freshman. Williams trying to get to the corner, but he's roughed up out of bounds at the 43 by William Yarbrough.
Killer. They call him Killer, Mark. He's the smallest guy on the defense, and they call him Killer.
What's he weigh, 165 this week?
Take a look at Bradley now, the tight end blocking on Cornell Brown. They have 2 tight ends. Fitzgerald is more the receiver. Bradley is the blocker, and you can see why. A great job blocking against the All-American Cornell Brown. That's good work by the tight end, Steve Bradley.
It often takes 3 players or more to bring down Ricky Williams, the former high school player of the year in San Diego, California. The Horns with their ace formation. A fumble, they put it on the ground, and Brown pounces on the loose bill. And you can hear a huge collective sigh come from the Texas sidelines.
That ball was just never cleanly exchanged between the center Fiebiger and the quarterback Brown. Take a look. It never gets up cleanly into the hands of James Brown, and he very alertly finds the football and doesn't try to do anything fancy. And a lot of times when you play an aggressive defense that gets up and really crowds the line of scrimmage, you kind of lose your concentration. You're worried about where they're going to line up and where they're going to move to, and you don't take care of the little things.
It is 3rd down and 15. Brown tries to take off, but is brought down to the 33-yard line. The Hokie defense holding. Myron Newsom making the tackle, the 5'10 junior.
Take a look at J.C. Price now, number 59. He was a tight end in high school, so he can run. I mean, he has good mobility. You see him read where the quarterback's going, and look at the acceleration getting to the quarterback. That's just good athletic ability by J.C. Price. That's what marks this defense. They've got guys playing on the line and in the front 7 who can really run.
Schultes into punt from his own 20. It's off a high boot. Green calling for the fair catch at the 29-yard line. A 39-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Just underway here at the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Zeros on the board. Back at the Superdome, a look at the offensive line for the Hokies. Chris Malone is the seasoned senior, but Todd, Bill Conity has to have a good game today.
Yeah, he really does. And Malone and Conity have started every game together, but Conity is coming off of an injury, had surgery on his ankle for an injury he suffered in the Virginia game, and so far he's holding his own pretty good. He was concerned how he would do against the good nose guard, Chris Akins.
1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. They hand it off to Dwayne Thomas. A huge hole created by Conity that time. There's a look at his ankle. Look at that nasty looking scar. And he also has 7 screws inside.
Yeah, he broke his fibula in the Virginia game. It was a displaced fracture. They had to do surgery and insert a metal plate along with those 7 screws. And he says it feels okay. It still hurts, but it's okay in the pass blocking. Where he's really concerned is how he'll hold up in his run blocking when he has to really push off of it and drive into a defender.
7 screws. No wonder they call him the Man of Steel. They toss it on the option. Thomas is over the 40, out to the 41-yard line, and he has the first down for Virginia Tech. Kyle Richardson making the tackle. Richardson joined up front on the front 7 by Tony Brackens. In the secondary, they have a couple of very talented corners. Bryant Westbrook, number 30, and Taji Allen, number 2. Carter, number 16, is one of the smartest players in that secondary. He may have had the best season of all of them back there. Druckenmiller to pass. And it's incomplete at the 43-yard line. And downstairs for more on Virginia Tech to Dean. Dean.
Guys, you know, football is complex. With this no huddle, everything happens at the line of scrimmage. Druckenmiller yesterday at practice simulated what happens with us. Listen.
Left, left. Dean. Dean. Start. Mike's right, rep. Hike.
That's the pass protection. Anyway, it's pretty complex. Todd, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, basically, he calls the game at the line of scrimmage. You can see him doing it right now, whether he's under center or in the shotgun.
This is Thomas over the right side out to the 47-yard line. Tyson King, the leading tackler for the Horns, making the stop that time.
Just to finish that story, now they'll go with the no huddle in all situations except for short yardage and goal line plays. And it's not a hurry-up offense. It's not a 2-minute offense. It's simply a no huddle. And what Druckenmiller goes through, first he sets the formation, either right or left. Then he uses a coded word to call the play, the type of play. Then he calls out the defensive front. That alerts the offensive line how they're going to protect. And then he and the center communicate the snap count.
3rd and 4, 3 wideouts for Druckenmiller. Under pressure, gets it off. Cornelius White has it knocked away. Trey Thomas closed and recovered at the last minute.
Well, that's a great play by the strong safety, Trey Thomas. And again, good pressure on the inside. Look at the nose guard, Akins, right up the gut. And they forced Druckenmiller to kind of throw off his back foot, but a great job by Trey Thomas. Watch the pressure coming inside. Druckenmiller tries to roll away from it, doesn't get everything on the ball, and you think they have a good matchup. Wide receiver against strong safety, but a good play by Thomas.
Druckenmiller just 1 of 4. A nice high spiraling punt. Adams calling for the fair catch at the 13-yard line, and Virginia Tech is going to be whistled for a penalty, interfering with Adams on the punt. A 41-yard boot. Let's see what this flag is about. Michael Dover is our referee today. He's the man wearing the white hat.
Well, he interfered with that 2-yard radius. You've got to give the guy 2 yards to make the fair catch.
And it is just that.
There's a freshman defensive back, Pearson Priolet, who is just down there a little over anxious. You see Adams make the fair catch now. He's got to give him 2 yards. Not only does he violate 2 yards, he actually bumps into him.
An easy call for the official that time. 7:58 to play in the first quarter. Neither team has scored yet as we take another look. Was he pushed in, though? Did Westbrook push him in?
No, I don't think so. Westbrook pulled off, and he had enough time to avoid the contact. It's just a freshman mistake. That's all it is in a big ball game.
Best thing about freshmen, coaches say that they turn into sophomores next year. 2 tights. Split backs for James Brown. Sean Mitchell finds a seam. Sean Mitchell with tremendous speed has a first down after picking up 14 yards. George Del Rico making the tackle. Sean Mitchell, a junior college transfer who loves to run between tackles and outside.
Watch all the white shirts bunched inside, and all that Mitchell needs is a little crease. He gets to the outside, he picks up a nice block by his guard, Dan Neal, the All-American, and it's a good gain. And Mitchell and Williams are a nice combination. Mitchell has great speed and good power, and Williams has great power and good speed. They really are a nice complement to one another in the backfield.
He is the 6th Texas player to run for over 1,000 yards in the school's history. Backside of the eye, that's Matt Davis in motion. Play fake by Brown. Adams on the slants. Adams down to the 32. If you don't know about Michael Adams by now, you better ask somebody. He has a first down after picking up 27 yards. Larry Green was the guy being worked on.
Well, this starts with pass protection, Mark. James Brown had a lot of time coming off the play action. You run the ball effectively, go with the play action. Watch how much time Brown has. Tech still can't find the football. He's able to sit in there, and that's a deep in route. And it's a perfect throw to Michael Adams. Torian Gray, the strong safety, got caught in coverage. That matchup favors Texas.
A run it to the short side of the field. A pickup of 8 yards that time by Sean Mitchell. This Texas offense, Todd, really starting to find its rhythm now early in the first quarter. Yarbrough and Newsome making the tackle on Mitchell.
Virginia Tech is a great defensive football team, but I don't think that they've seen an offense the caliber of Texas all season. This team has 5 legitimate playmakers. The quarterback, both tailbacks, the tight end, and Michael Adams. All 5 of those guys are big playmakers for Texas. As you take a look at Bud Foster, one of the co-defensive coordinators for Virginia Tech.
Second down, 3 to go. Williams this time, tiptoeing up the middle, and he has another Longhorn first down at the 16-yard line. Ricky Williams had 163 yards in Texas's last game against A&M, the second most ever by a true freshman for the Longhorns. Brandon Simonis made the tackle that time. He is a load.
Yeah, he really is. He loves to run with the football, John Mackovic says. Just loves to get in his hand. If he's 5 yards away in practice, he'll run 95 yards. As you take a look at the Longhorns, inside the 20, 33 times out of 41 scores. That's touchdowns. That's good production.
First and 10, 6:19 remaining in the first quarter. Mitchell. He can make people miss. He's slippery. He slides inside and out down to the 10-yard line. Del Rico again making the tackle. He's rushed the ball now, Mitchell has 3 times for a total of 26 yards. Transfer from Glenn Junior College, where he averaged 111 yards per game.
I think what we're seeing, Mark, is one of the strengths of John Mackovic as a play caller. When you play an aggressive defense, you've got to take them off that edge. You've got to be able to mix the run and the pass. Right now in this drive, Texas has the Hokies a little bit back on their heels. They don't know what to expect.
Second and 5, Brown to pass. Tried to find Williams, but he threw it behind the true freshman, and it's incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 5 to go. And John Mackovic deciding his next call.
This looks like they were trying to set up this little swing pass right away, but it was a bad throw by James Brown. Whenever you got a running back, they're not used to adjusting to the ball as much as wide receivers. You want to give them a nice, easy pass where they don't have to try to turn their body and make the catch. Let them catch it easily and use their skills, which is running the ball.
Williams is the lone back on 3rd down and 5. They give it to him. There's a flag down at the 12-yard line, and that will not be a Texas first down. Myron Newsome made the stop for the Hokie defense.
You know what, they're going to be offsides again, and I think it's Cornell Brown who is lining up offsides. He's the end man on the line of scrimmage, and I think he's just getting his hand or his helmet across the line. He's just too close to the football. He's got to know that he's got to back off. I think they've got him a couple times in the ballgame.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, result in a first down.
That is 3 times now that the Hokie defense has been a little bit eager, or, as you mentioned, lined up offside.
Yeah, they're not jumping. It's not because of the snap count of James Brown. They're absolutely, all they're doing is lining up offsides. It's the hand. You know, Cornell Brown has kind of a sprinter stance when he lines up to rush the passer, and he's getting his hand across the line of scrimmage into the neutral zone, and that's 5-yard penalty.
First and goal for the Longhorns. The ball at the 6-yard line. The toss to the short side of the field. Mitchell stopped up at the 4-yard line. He got about 2.
Nice job by James Brown that time, going with the quick count, mixing up the snap count. You get the penalty, then you come right out of the huddle and go with the quick count. Hope that that defense is not set yet, and you get a pretty good running play to the short side of the field.
We've seen a lot of tosses so far, Todd. We haven't seen much of that counter that they like to use, Texas.
This would be a good place for it. Virginia Tech is very good in this part of the field. Only 3 first-quarter touchdowns they've allowed all season. Texas certainly knocking on the door now.
Look at that 8-man front for the Hokies. Brown into the end zone. Touchdown, Fitzgerald. Pat Fitzgerald puts the Horns on the board.
This is a good quick throw by James Brown. He feels the pressure, 3-step drop. Watch how quickly he gets rid of it. Before Cornell Brown can get there, he throws to his big tight end Fitzgerald. And for Fitzgerald, that's his 9th touchdown catch of the season. He leads the team in that category.
Bill Dawson now in for the extra point. He knocks it through, capping an 8-play, 72-yard drive, using up 3:26 on the clock. The champs of the Southwest Conference lead 7-0. The Dean Blevins.
Guys, a significant play. Not only did Virginia Tech give up the touchdown, but you're watching Cornell Brown, the outstanding defensive lineman. He pulled a hamstring. Watch him on this play. He's been stretching it all game long, hurt it earlier in the week, obviously re-injures it there. He's come off the field, and I'm trying to find out, did he snap it? Thinks he will be back, so we'll keep an eye on that. Apparently he didn't snap it, but he obviously re-injured it, and he'll be stretching it and trying to re-enter.
They can ill afford, thanks a lot, Dean. They can ill afford to lose him, Todd. He is the inspirational leader of that defensive unit. Leads the team with 14 sacks. First team All-American.
He really raises the level of play of the other 10 guys around him, too, because he plays hard, he practices hard. He's a very quiet guy. He's a younger brother of Reuben Brown, is a starting offensive lineman for the was at Pittsburgh, now with the Buffalo Bills, and he's a great football player. And as you mentioned, they can't afford to lose him in this ball game. Dawson set to kick off from the 35. Antonio Banks staying on the goal line for the Hokies. 4 yards deep. Banks will take a knee. So Jim Druckenmiller will lead the offense from the 20-yard line. So far today, he is just 1 of 4 for a total of 5 yards. And Todd, how would you size up the battle between the Virginia Tech offensive line and the defensive front for Texas?
Well, I think they're doing okay. They have gotten some pressure to Druckenmiller, and again, we mentioned at the top, he's not going to run away from a lot of people. He has to utilize his size and his strength to hang in the pocket. He just needs to get a couple completions now, some quick throws, get his confidence back, and that'll help his offensive line as well.
Oxendine now in the ball game. He's the deep back out of the eye. Play fake. The flanker screen to Brian Still. There's a flag down at the 25 as Still picks up a first down, and now another late flag at the 40-yard line. Still picked up 16. Tony Brackens pushed him out of bounds.
Well, the first penalty is going to be a holding penalty against Jay Haygood, number 71, the offensive left tackle for Virginia Tech. He got out in good position on the screen, but he just grabbed his man instead of staying in front of him. The second penalty, I think, is going to be on Texas on their sideline at the tackle.
There you go.
Not only did Jay Haygood hold, I think he grabbed the face mask. That was the holding. Take a look now. Here's Haygood. He gets the face mask right there of Tajee Allen. So that's a penalty against the offense. Then there's going to be another penalty, a personal foul on the sideline after the play is done. Watch. There's the late hit on the sideline by Brackens, offsetting penalties.
So we'll do it all over again. It'll be first down and 10 for the Hokies once again. Look at Frank Beamer's 9th year. Blacksburg.
See, they mark off both these penalties because the personal foul, the penalty that was worth more yardage was against Texas. So this works out pretty well for Virginia Tech. They get some yardage, plus it's still first down. The penalty on Haygood was only a 5-yard penalty. The penalty for the late hit was a 15-yard penalty against Texas.
Nose of the ball now on the 28-yard line. Druckenmiller won the job outright in the spring, struggled in the first 2 games, and then turned it around a little bit in that Miami contest, a contest that was pivotal in the success of their season. The toss to Ken Oxendine. He's explosive, he's got speed, he put it on the ground. Who's got it? Texas says theirs. Still no signal, and they're still wrestling for the ball. And Brackens ripped it loose.
Take a look now. Oxendine looks like he has it pretty good, but Brackens, pursuing from the backside, is going to reach his arm up through his left arm, knocks it off the leg of Oxendine, and the ball is loose.
And the Horns have possession at the 31.
Take a look again. Oxendine, the younger of the 2 tailbacks, just didn't have that ball tucked away securely, and Tony Brackens, the impact player for Texas, makes the play.
Fairfield, Texas. learned his work ethic working on the family's farm and ranch. And John Mackovic's team now in very propitious field position at the 32. First down and 10. They scored on their last drive.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him try to throw it right to the end zone, a deep post right here.
Macklemore is split wide to the bottom of your screen. Macklemore looking to pass into the end zone, almost intercepted, and it's incomplete. William Yarbrough came over, the free safety, and batted it down. It was intended for Pat Fitzgerald, the tight end.
Well, Texas really got away with one here. They tried to go with the quick play and get the touchdown right away, and this is an ill-advised throw because there's good coverage by Virginia Tech. Macklemore just lofts it down the middle, and really, Yarbrough had both hands on the football, wasn't able to come down with the interception.
4 white jerseys, Todd, in the neighborhood.
That did not fool the Virginia Tech defense, and Texas really dodged a bullet there.
Clayton and Mitchell split behind Brown. This is Sean Mitchell. Running up to the 24-yard line. Tomorrow night on ABC, Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, and River Phoenix star in the season's first Monday night movie. It's Sneakers. Tomorrow at a special time, 8:30, 7:30 Central, right here on ABC. Yarbrough making the tackle on that last play. The ball at the 25-yard line. 3rd down and 4 to go. And there is one of the best game day coaches in the biz, John Mackovic. 2 and 3 in bowl games. Approaching 3.5 to play now in the first period. 4 wideouts for the Horns. And Brown is on the move. A flag down in the backfield, and Brown is down at the 23, and he got popped when he was on the carpet, short of the first down.
Great hustle play by the defensive end, Hank Coleman. He was not there for the sack, but he kept chasing, and was able to trip up James Brown short of the first down. That's just great hustle by Hank Coleman in pursuit of the quarterback.
Todd, one of the things that you have to be impressed with defensively for the Hokies is the number of guys like number 6, Hank Coleman, who can run to the ball.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty, spot the foul, 3rd down.
Take a look as this play unfolds. Coleman is rushing from the top of the right of your screen against John Elmore. That might be where the holding occurred, but watch the hustle now. He doesn't get the sack, but he doesn't give up on the play, and he's able to just trip up the foot of James Brown and stop him short of the first down. Good work by Hank Coleman.
3rd down and Baton Rouge to go, 24 yards. Adams split wide to the bottom of your screen. The inside shuffle pass, and it's stopped at the 44 by Myron Newsom. We have called his name several times today.
Newsom was there, and J.C. Price was there as well. J.C. Price, again, using his athletic ability on the inside to diagnose that little play and be there for the tackle, and that's a good defensive stand for Virginia Tech after the turnover.
Schultes into punt. There's a look at Green. Schultes should be able to knock this one inside the 20.
They've uncovered this outside guy here.
Coming after it. Hangs it up high inside the 20. Green with a fair catch at the 18-yard line. 26-yard punt, nothing on the return. It's 7-0 for the Horns. Stick around, we'll be right back. Here's one of the defining moments in Virginia Tech's season. After an 0-2 start, they met Miami. This field goal gave the Hokies a 13-7 lead, and then they watched the Canes march downfield late in the ball game, but the Hokie defense, as it's done so many times this year, came up big, knocking down that pass. They won the game, defeating Miami for their first time ever, and went on to a 9-2 record and an appearance in today's Nokia Sugar Bowl.
That was a huge game, Mark, because they had lost to Cincinnati the week before 16-0, so morale could have been down. They came through with the big win against the Hurricanes.
They should have beaten Boston College, many people think, too. There's Dwayne Thomas out to the 21-yard line. Tyson King making the tackle. But Frank Beamer said that that was the pivotal point in their season when they defeated Miami. Some people think that they may have looked too far ahead to the Hurricanes and dropped those first 2 games.
Well, they did it in a real blue-collar way, the way they've done all year. They ran the ball for 300 yards. Their defense had 6 sacks and 2 interceptions, and that's the way they won ball games all season.
Druckenmiller comes back to the short side of the field. Brian Edmonds, the fullback, with a nice gain out to the 34-yard line. A pickup of 13 and a first down for the Hokies. Tyson King making the tackle. Edmonds, a fullback at 245 pounds, as you witness right there, has very good speed.
Well, here's Edmonds here. Now they're going to fake the screen this way first. Watch Druckenmiller have the patience to fake the screen and then come back to the left. It's a double screen. He takes the ball, he fakes it out to the right, and then comes back, and he has 2 linemen setting up out there to block, and that's good execution by Virginia Tech on the double screen.
Coaches feeling very confident in all 4 running backs. They'll all get a touch. Druckenmiller on the pitch to Thomas. Thomas cuts it up to the 39-yard line, has about 3 or 4. It'll be second down and about 6 to go.
What we're seeing with this is just a little change up with the option. Give Texas something else to look at. Tony Brackens, you don't think he's an impact player for this team? Take a look at what this defense does when he's in. He played 8 games. The team had 22 sacks, 69 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He was injured for 4 games, only 4 sacks and 28 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. When he's in the ball game, Texas is a much better football team on defense.
The interesting thing about Brackens, too, a heck of a basketball player. He can hoop some. Second down and 6 to go. Druckenmiller on the quick slant to the tight end. And man, did Brian Jennings get jacked at the 40-yard line, but he gets up and says, didn't hurt any. Tyson King making like Mike Tyson that time. Knockout blow. Time winding down now in the first period. It'll be third down, about 4 to go.
Jennings a little crossing route, and he gets double teamed. King actually gets his legs out, and I think it was Brackens who peeled off the pass rush and got the big hit on the top.
Not sure that Druckenmiller is going to get this playoff, and he won't. Well, the first 15 minutes of the 1995 Nokia Sugar Bowl are in the books. We're in the land of good jazz and great food. Spicy battle on the field. Stick around. We'll be right back. It is New Year's Eve here in the Crescent City, the Big Easy. And a look at Bourbon Street, bubbling as always. A lot of different flavors down there and different types.
That street's entirely too narrow for the number of people that are going to be out there tonight, I'll tell you what. Big play right here for Jim Druckenmiller. He's got to get something going offensively. They got to get into a little rhythm. They're in good field position, need the first down.
3rd and 5. 4 wideouts for Druckenmiller. Gets it off in time, complete for the first down. Nice catch by Jermaine Holmes, a pickup of 14 yards.
See, that's what Druckenmiller can do. He's not going to run away from the pass rush, but he's strong enough that if a guy gets around his legs, he can just stand in there, and he still has the arm strength to make the throw. Watch as his eyes are downfield. He's going to get pressure. There's bodies around his leg. Stoney Clark is a big man with his arms around his legs, but Druckenmiller is able to hold in the pocket and make the throw downfield. That's good strength by the quarterback, Druckenmiller.
Druckenmiller, Todd, now 3 for 3 in this drive. Out of the shotgun again, 4 wide receivers. Has plenty of time. And it's picked off. Jason Reeves is still on his feet. Reeves brings it back to the 32-yard line. And Texas will try and take advantage of Virginia Tech's second turnover of the ball game.
But Druckenmiller has time. He does a nice job moving out of the pocket, but it's always dangerous to throw back across the grain, and the ball gets tipped in there first. It gets tipped twice, actually, before Reeves is able to corral it for the interception. That's just good work, alert play by Texas reacting to the ball in the air. It's always dangerous to throw across the grain back to the middle of the field. There's more defenders in the middle there than there are on the outside.
As I mentioned, the Hokies with 2 turnovers today. On the 33, toss to the short side of the field, Mitchell. One out of bounds at the 37. He'll lose about 4.
Boy, good play by Brandon Simonis, the outside linebacker. They call him the whip linebacker, and really the whip linebacker and the rover or strong safety in this Virginia Tech defense are the same kind of player. They're perimeter players, and their job is to keep everything to the inside. That time Simonis did a nice job running him out of bounds for a loss of yardage situation.
Simonis, second team All Big East Conference this year. Second down and 14 to go. Texas in its ace formation, 2 tight, single back set. Brown back to the short side. It's complete at the 35 to Pat Fitzgerald, the tight end.
2 good plays in a row by Brandon Simonis. He was there in the pass coverage. We saw him effective on the run. There we saw him effective in pass coverage. And good news for Virginia Tech also, Cornell Brown is back into the game, and he doesn't appear to be bothered by that hamstring. He was rushing the passer pretty full speed on that particular play.
Brown moving around in the pocket a lot in this game so far. Third down and 12 for JB. Receiver split to the bottom of your screen. That's Adams in motion. Play fake. Brown looking for Adams, and he overthrows him. McLemore ran to the post, and it's 4th down.
That is great defensive work by Virginia Tech. The 2 coordinators, Bud Foster and Rod Sharpless, have to be thrilled because 2 turnovers here in the first half. You give Texas good field position, and you're able to shut them down and out of field goal range. That's good work, good pressure that time by Lawrence Lewis, number 56, and Cornell Brown, both guys coming from the end position.
You are looking at Phil Dawson from 52 yards out. It would equal his career best.
He certainly has the leg to make it.
He hit him from 55 in practice. This one's good. Dawson nails it to give the Horns a 10-0 lead. He is now 14 of 21 on the year. And you ask yourself, how close was it? Folks, it was that close. We'll be right back. Phil Dawson with thunder in that leg, hitting from 52 yards out. You might think it's a Nokia Sugar Bowl record, but it's not. The record is 53 yards, held by John Carroll. Oklahoma played Auburn back in 1972.
Mark, nobody likes playing in a dome more than quarterbacks and kickers. I mean, there's no wind in here. It's a perfect surface, a perfect kicking conditions, and Phil Dawson really nailed that thing. I mean, it hit the upright, and that's what made it close, but he could have made that from about 60 yards, it looked like.
It's interesting because he was telling us in practice a couple of days ago, the ball really didn't seem to carry that much, but it was all up to his leg on that one. And he responded. Banks is back deep for the kick. Dawson hammers this 1 yard deep. Banks is going to come out with it. Not a wise decision. Brought down at the 5-yard line by Bryant Westbrook, who's been busy on special teams. Well, our bowl excitement continues on New Year's Day at 1 Eastern. It's a battle of top 5 teams. Ohio State battles Tennessee in the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl. And at 4:30 Eastern, the USC Trojans waltz with the Cinderella team of 1994-95. Northwestern in the Rose Bowl. Don't miss all the action tomorrow right here on ABC Sports. And what a story in '95 Northwestern has been.
Mark, on that kickoff return, I don't think Antonio Banks wanted to bring it out of the end zone. I think he felt like he had to. He bobbled it. He didn't know if he was in or out of the end zone, and he felt like he had to bring it out, and therefore the bad field position for the Hokies right here.
Virginia Tech yet to score. Run it up the middle this time. Marcus Parker made about 2 yards as we look at the Hokies' first half possessions so far. A couple of punts and then a couple of turnovers.
They're actually very fortunate that they have only given up 10 points off of those 2 turnovers, because
You don't want to give an offense as explosive as Texas those kind of opportunities. They will burn you more often than not. You want to make that team have to drive the football the full length of the field. Don't give them the short field. They've got too many weapons, and they've really kind of dodged it here in the first half, only down 10-zip.
Second down and 8. That's Oxendine. Oxendine this time hangs on to the rock, and he takes it out to the 17-yard line, and that is good enough for a first down for the Hokies. Oxendine fumbled on his last carry. He was brought down by Kyle Richardson and Trey Thomas.
Take a look at Texas now. Really, they kind of turned the corner defensively midway through the season. The first 6 games, they allowed 15 touchdowns. The last 6 games, only 7 touchdowns allowed. A lot of that had to do with Tony Brackett's being healthy, but I think Gary Darnell, the defensive coordinator, got a little more aggressive. They started blitzing, attacking the line of scrimmage more, and it became a much better defense towards the end of the season.
First down and 10. Inside handoff to Oxendine. Fighting off a couple of would-be Texas tacklers out to the 23-yard line. He'll pick up about 5. Brought down by Shane Rink. An interesting week in coaching shuffling, and Dean Blevins has more.
Guys, Howard Schnellenberger was named the Oklahoma coach about a year ago. John Blake is the coach today. He came in second a season ago. And John joins us now live on a payphone in Norman, Oklahoma. John, congratulations. It was a big day for you in Norman as you were announced the head coach.
No question, Dean. It was a special day for me, man. I'm excited and ready to go.
We're going to join the action. Be back with you in a minute, John.
All right, stick around, fellas. Second down and 4. Druckenmiller complete to the tight end, Brian Jennings. 12-yard pickup, another first down, and back to Dean Blevins.
John, the people around the country, I'm sure, will want to know the answer to this question. You've not been a coordinator. Now you jump to head coach. Can you handle it?
There's no question I can handle it, Dean. Same message I gave everybody else. It's not my fault. It took everybody 50, 60 years to accomplish what I've accomplished in 34 years, so I'm ready to go. It's just a title.
John is the defensive line coach for Barry Switzer now. He was with Jimmy Johnson. We'll go to a play and come back, and we'll wrap it up with it.
All right. Big week for our Dean Blevins, breaking a couple of stories.
Big smile on Dean Blevins' face, too. He liked that hire. He likes John Blake, and, of course, he's interested in the Oklahoma program.
Former quarterback, flagged down at the 35. That's Marcus Parker fighting to stay on his feet. Back to Dean.
John, what are you going to do with your time now? Are you going to recruit at Oklahoma because you got a lot of work to do, or are you going to coach the Cowboys in the playoffs?
My first priority is the Cowboys. We got to get to the Super Bowl, and that's my first priority, and Jerry Jones knows that, Coach Switzer knows that. And in addition, I'll just recruit out of the office and fly out at night and do a couple of visits, but I need to make sure I do all I can to help this team get to the Super Bowl.
All right, can we still call you Boo Blake?
You can call me Boo off the record.
All right, Coach Blake, thanks. And, guys, I'll tag it by letting you know this guy lost 135 pounds in the past year. Shows a great amount of discipline, and I think that told you how serious he was about coaching and his future.
And he'll have to whip that Oklahoma crew into shape as well.
Well, I would say that's about as close to jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire as he's going to get. Oklahoma down a little bit. The Big 12, an exciting future ahead of them.
Oklahoma in that very tough South Conference. Druckenmiller trying to stretch the defense for still incomplete at the 12-yard line. Westbrook breaking it up.
That's perfect position, perfect play by Bryant Westbrook. He never lost sight of the ball. He never panicked in his coverage. He just waited for the ball to come down and made a play. Watch how he finds the ball before the receiver still does. His eyes were on the football longer than the wide receivers were. That's just great work by Bryant Westbrook, being in perfect position to make the play.
Interesting, Todd, that Virginia Tech coaches said that they would have to stretch that defense and go long at times. That's one of the first times, maybe the first time, we've seen them do that so far. With 10:15 to play in the first half. Second down and 5. Not much happening up the middle. The Texas defense tightening up the screws a little bit, led by Tony Brackens and Chris Akins. Brackens making the tackle that time on Ken Oxendine. Brackens, one of the premier players in the country, a great athlete with tremendous talent, and as I mentioned before, were he not on the football team, he'd probably be hooping with the running horns on the basketball court.
Well, that's why he makes the plays that he does. He's that kind of an athlete. He's a basketball player playing defensive end. That's why he's got the great explosiveness in his legs as a pass rusher.
Tom Penders would love him. 3rd and 5. The out pattern incomplete. for Brian Still, and the Hokies will have to punt. He tried to pick on Westbrook, but he didn't find any success.
Druckenmiller had what he wanted, a one-on-one situation. There was enough of a cushion to get the out in. I think he just rushed that throw a little bit. If he would have held off a little bit longer, he could have made a little better throw to the sideline, and that was a big play that went against Virginia Tech.
And in comes John Thomas. Third punt of the day, Mike Adams averages 17 yards every time he touches the ball. And he'll get a touch right here. Heading cross field, running east-west and then south, and brought down at the 15-yard line. 42 yards on the punt, loss of 1 on the return. 10-0 when we come back. Back inside the Superdome, and Todd Blackledge, as we take a look at the carpet, a couple of different philosophies this week on part of the teams.
Well, Texas practiced in the Superdome all week, every practice. Virginia Tech chose to practice at Tulane on a grass field because they had to work on turf back in Blacksburg because of the weather. And I think Texas is a little more comfortable with this surface in the early part of the game. It's a very sticky surface. Texas looks more comfortable on the turf right now than Virginia Tech does.
Longhorns play on the rug back in Austin. Pass complete to Mike Adams, reaching behind him to make the grab and the first down to pick up 15 yards.
Normally the rule of thumb when throwing an out is you throw the outs out. You don't want to throw the outs back to the inside, but when you've got a receiver as good as Michael Adams, it doesn't matter. Watch him reach back to the inside with his left hand, makes the catch and never breaks stride. Gene Dahlquist, the offensive coordinator, says Michael Adams, when he's healthy and gets his hands on the ball, he does magical things. That was a magic catch by Michael Adams.
He's caught a pass in 26 consecutive games. First down and 10, ball on the 31. Twins right, they hand it off to Ricky Williams. Up the middle to the 38-yard line. Next Sunday on ABC Sports, the PGA Tour's champions from 1995 tee off in the first big golf event of '96. John Daly, Ben Crenshaw, Greg Norman headline our final round coverage of the Mercedes Championships. Next Sunday, right here on ABC Sports. .840 to play in the first half. Southwest Conference champions Texas leading 10-0. Williams to the short side of the field. Maybe got 2 yards, brought down by George Del Rico. Look at some scores in other bowl games. Southwest Conference doing pretty well so far. Texas Tech winning.
They're going out with a bang.
Yeah,
you know, the 4 schools leaving the Southwest Conference to join the Big 12. Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Baylor. And all of them playing well in their bowl games right now.
A&M defeating Michigan, and Texas Tech winning as well. Third down and 4 for Texas. They have yet to convert on third down. Brown, is it complete? No.
Off the short hop.
And there's a flag down on the play. It's intended for Justin McLemore.
I think it's going to be a holding as Brown left the pocket. No, an ineligible man downfield on the scramble by the quarterback, James Brown. Watch the short hop here as the ball gets to the receiver. McLemore does a nice job covering it up, but to no avail. Too many referees around the scene.
Ineligible receiver downfield against the offense. Penalty decline. Fourth down.
You know, Mark, I want to finish up on the deal with the turf. Virginia Tech, not only do they play their home games on grass, but this year about 8 of their games were played in the rain. So they played on wet, sloppy fields all year. It's much different than the surface down here. And they practiced on the turf at home because of bad weather, and they got some guys banged up. That's why they made the decision to practice on the grass here this week in New Orleans.
Bringing their legs back to life a little bit. Schultes standing on his own 24. Angelo Harrison has yet to get good penetration. They come up the middle. Good pressure. The officials saying that it was tipped. And it takes a Texas bounce. And boy, you know what? Westbrook is having a heck of a day on special teams. He made a great hit on that punt coverage.
They got good pressure up the middle, and the referee signaled that it was deflected. It didn't look like anybody got a piece of it. Probably should have been a roughing the kicker call against Virginia Tech.
It's 10-0 in the Superdome. Back in New Orleans in the Superdome, let's check in with John Saunders to find out what's happening at halftime.
Thanks, Mark. Coming up at halftime, we'll look back at 1995 with our year in review and look ahead with previews of the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl and the Rose Bowl.
All right, John, Frank Beamer's team trailing 10-0. Beamer telling his squad that, hey, fellas, you know, we cannot show poorly in this game because then people will say, I told you so.
Well, he feels that his team has more at stake in this game than most other teams in the bowl games. They're trying to make a statement about Virginia Tech football.
They run it up the middle. This is Dwayne Thomas. Out over the 25 to the 26-yard line. Dwayne Thomas, an interesting name, and it's interesting how some of these student athletes can make you feel a little aged at times, Todd. I had a talk with Dwayne Thomas at practice 2 days ago. I said, do you know anything about a Dwayne Thomas that used to play for the Dallas Cowboys? Something about a Super Bowl in the Cowboys' glory days? He said, no. He asked me why. I said, no, don't worry about it. The pitch to Dwayne Thomas. This Dwayne Thomas speaks to the media. Out to the 31. And Dean Blevins has more from downstairs. Dean.
Mark, you talked a minute ago about the Southwest Conference in bowls. Just take a look and see what the new Big 12 has done and has a chance to do in the bowl season. Kansas, of course, the game we had on ABC, won big in the Aloha Bowl. Texas A&M over Michigan. Kansas State a big winner. Texas Tech a winner. Texas winning here. Of course, we have a long way to go, but it's 4-0 with those 3 games remaining. Colorado is favored and Nebraska over Florida. So conceivably 7-0 for the Big 12.
You will see the Big 12 Conference featured next year here on ABC. Pass incomplete to the tight end Jennings. Dwight Kirkpatrick in on the coverage. Druckenmiller is 5 of 12 for a total of 46 yards. Has an interception today as well.
We haven't seen many sacks by the Texas defense, but they're getting enough pressure and enough bodies around Druckenmiller to just get him out of his rhythm. He doesn't look comfortable throwing the football or like he's in rhythm right now, and that's what pass pressure can do to you. You don't always have to get a sack to be effective when you rush the passer.
Here's Brian Still on the flanker screen. Still out near the first down. A tremendous lunging effort at the 40-yard line. He's close. They might have to measure.
Take a look at Virginia Tech. They kind of sputtered out of the gate offensively, only scored 67 points in their first 5 ball games, but then they exploded the last half of the season, averaging 42 points a ball game. They have not scored in this one yet. Good Texas defense, but that's one way that they can help themselves, getting the ball to Brian Still. He is a guy who can make plays, and you know, they had a receiver here a couple years ago that by the name of Antonio Freeman was very similar, made a lot of plays. In fact, Antonio had a big game for the Packers today, returned a punt for a touchdown, and a lot of the Hokies were really watching that game closely. But Brian Still is very much like Antonio Freeman. He's got that acceleration, that burst, and that ability to make plays. They've got to get him the football.
Preferably, the coaches say, on some deep routes. Yeah. They are short of the first down by less than a yard. That's about, what, 3 inches maybe? It's going to be 3rd down and that much to go. Now look at the respective statistics for the 2 quarterbacks. Brown error-free so far.
This will be a big play to watch the center, Billy Conity, working against Chris Akins, the nose guard, to see how that leg feels, trying to get a push on the inside.
2 tights, Edmonds and Thomas, the backs out of the eye. A little movement on the right side by number 40, Shane Miles, the tight end.
Well, the right tackle moved first. Mike Bianchi, number 77, moved, and then Miles moved, and that's a tough penalty. You've got 3rd and less than 1. You want to get up there and make the first down, and now you move it back and put yourself into a 3rd and 6. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. Watch these 2 guys. First the tackle moves, then the tight end moves. That's just a lack of concentration by Virginia Tech in the short yardage situation.
An egregious error that time.
You can see Frank Beamer is upset with that. Their 6th penalty of the game. That could prove to be a very costly one here in the first half.
Still is split wide to the top of your screen. 3rd and 6 with 5:47 to play in the half. Play fake. Almost picked off, and Jennings makes the catch. Jennings with a first down at the 45-yard line. Man, I'm telling you, the safety, Chris Carter, already was taking pictures in the end zone on the interception. Have another look.
Well, it's play action. Now the tight end is going to release right to the outside. This man is going to come unblocked. Watch Druckenmiller have to throw against the blitz with a man unblocked. Nobody blocks the outside rusher. He gets rid of the football. You don't think it's a game of inches? 2 inches to the inside, and Chris Carter is in the end zone for a Texas touchdown. As it turns out, Jennings, the big first down reception for Virginia Tech.
He now, Todd, has 3 catches on the day for a total of 33 yards and a huge first down for the Hokies. Another play fake. Druckenmiller loses a yard on the sack. The first sack of the day for the Longhorn defense. Jonathan Hickerson, a 6', 225-pound junior, in on the tackle of Druckenmiller. It'll be 2nd down and 11 to go. The clock running with 4:52 to play in the first half. Texas leading 10-0.
So far, I think the most effective plays for Virginia Tech has been some of the screen passes, whether it's the quick screen to a wide receiver. They ran the double screen to the fullback Edmonds. Now might be a good time for a screen. 2nd down and 10. Let that pass rush come up the field and throw the screen pass.
Out of the shotgun. For Jennings again, and he drops it this time at the 28. He would have had the first down. Right in the midst, and Frank Beamer can't believe it.
The ball was a little bit thrown short, and he had to stop and come back, and I think he knew that he was going to get hit in the back as he caught the ball. Not that he was afraid of the contact, but he just lost his concentration, and the ball went right through his hand. He knew that he was going to get hit at contact as soon as he made the catch, and watch the ball just go right through his hands, right through the breadbasket and off the turf.
Time to convert on 3rd down for the Hokies. It's 3rd and 11. They have yet to score today. Druckenmiller incomplete at the 32. Broken up by Carter. Intended for Sean Scales.
Good break on the ball by Chris Carter. Watches the free safety. It's a zone defense. He comes to help the corner, and he has a nose for the football. He makes a good clean break to the ball and beats the receiver to the football with the collision. Good work.
Carter on this last drive with an education and anticipation, 2 times getting a beat on the football. And now he drops back on the punt. Carter, a 6'1" junior. And here's the punt from Thomas. Fair catch called at the 14-yard line with 4:10 to play in the first half. A 32-yard punt. The Horns leading 10-0. Back for the 62nd edition of the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Texas leading Virginia Tech by a score of 10-0 with 4:09 to play in the first half. Todd, what's been the story of this first half so far?
Well, I think it's been the defense of Texas. We expected Virginia Tech's defense to play well, and they've held them in, but Texas's defense has really shut down the Hokies.
And there's a play by the leader, Cornell Brown, for the Hokie defense. 246-pound junior who injured a hamstring earlier in the game, making the tackle that time. The interesting thing about Brown is that earlier in the week he had the numbers 8 and 13 taped to his helmet to commemorate James Crawford and Tony Morrison, a couple of suspended players for the Hokies who did not make the trip. A couple of his roommates dedicating today's game and his performance to them. The handoff is to Ricky Williams, who falls forward to the 15-yard line on 2nd and 11.
You know,
It's interesting with these two running backs. Williams, they both kind of came different routes. Williams was an All-American running back in high school in San Diego. He came right in. The first day was the starting fullback. Sean Mitchell, he kind of came the hard route. Went to junior college. He was from Austin, went to high school in Austin, and John Mackovic said, if you do the right thing, go to JC, get yourself squared away. There'll be a place for you at Texas when you're done. And sure enough, Sean Mitchell not only showed up, but ran for over 1,000 yards this season.
And Mackovic, a man of his word, paying off on the promise. Here's James Brown. And it's incomplete. Again, McLemore couldn't scoop it off the carpet.
James Brown got rocked at the end of that play, Mark. We saw Jim Druckenmiller try to roll one way and throw back to the middle of the field. He threw an interception. This time, James Brown just came up with the incompletion, but really took a hit at the end of the play by J.C. Price.
Todd, you would think it would be important for the Hokie defense to make the kind of stand they just did after that disappointing offensive sequence. Schultes now into punt for Texas. Larry Green standing on his own 45-yard line. So the Hokies, you would think, would have good field position after the punt.
Texas bringing all their punt protectors in. This is a critical punting situation for the Longhorns.
Keep an eye out for number 83. Where is he? He doesn't emerge on this one. Schultes hangs it up high. Green at the 41-yard line. And here comes Brian Still. Brian Still is going to take this one to the house. Touchdown, Hokies.
Mark, a great job by Frank Beamer changing up the punt return. They brought Brian Still in to return the punt, and they set up the return. They made it look like they were going for the block. They pulled out to set up the return, and they got the ball in the hands of their big play guy, Brian Still. Texas was expecting the rush. Virginia Tech went for the punt return, and Brian Still gets the Hokies in the end zone.
And finally, we hear the vociferous fans from Blacksburg. Over 35,000 of them have made the trip from the campus nestled in the rolling hills of Southwest Virginia. The Hokies on the board with 7 points, courtesy of Brian Still.
Take a look at this now. The last 26 games, the defense for Virginia Tech and the special teams over the last 3 years has combined for that 16 touchdowns now. A great punt return by Brian Still. And a lot of times, if a team is going to try to block a punt, you tell the returner to go for a fair catch. When he saw that he wasn't going with the fair catch, you knew Virginia Tech was actually trying to set up the return. They wanted to get the ball to Brian Still, and he made it pay off for him. Can never underestimate the value of great special teams, and Virginia Tech has always had strong special teams under Frank Beamer. That's the way he likes to play football. When he was in college, he played for Jerry Claiborne at Virginia Tech, and that's the way they played. You see everybody in, but they didn't rush. They were just trying to hold up the guys running down to cover the kick. No fair catch by Brian Still. When he catches it, he's got about 5 yards in front of him because they held up the guys covering the kick, and then he just uses that acceleration and that burst. Nobody even laid a glove on Brian Still. Great work by the guys up front for Virginia Tech, holding up the men that are running down to cover the kick.
Larson now to kick off for the Hokies. They're back in this ball game. It's 10-7 with 2:34 to play in the first half. Adams is standing on his own 5. Mike Adams is going to try and respond right here. But not now. Adams tackled at the 21-yard line by the Hokies. And don't forget that coming up at halftime, folks, the Burger King Scholar Athlete Awards. Steve Tate making the tackle that time on the playmaker.
Mark, in this day and age in college football, you don't win 9 games in a row if you're not doing something exceptionally well. And what Virginia Tech has done exceptionally well all year is play great defense and have great special teams. Their offense has not always been the most productive, but their defense and special teams have played well all season. That was a huge momentum boost for the Virginia Tech football team.
In a prophetic statement, Beamer told me yesterday it could come down to the kicking game, and that time they got a big play out of it. on special teams. Adams complete at the 34-yard line. First down Texas with 2:20 to play in the first half. The tackle made by Simonis, but a 13-yard pickup by Mike Adams.
Right now what Virginia Tech has to do is they've got to kind of cool off emotionally and stay within the frame of their defense, because I know one thing about John Mackovic. This team works on the 2-minute offense very much, very often in practice, very effective. James Brown is a cool customer, and this team can be just as dangerous running the 2-minute offense as they are in their regular stuff.
Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. They hand it off to Sean Mitchell, cutting up inside and hit hard and brought down hard at the 38-yard line by William Yarborough, a.k.a. Killer. And don't forget, folks, tomorrow at 1 Eastern time, number 4 Ohio State against Tennessee. They're both co-ranked number 4. Todd, going to be interesting to see if the Buckeyes can respond if they have a hangover after that Michigan loss. And after that, it's the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, USC against Northwestern. Cinderella definitely wearing purple and black this year. 1.5 to play in the first half. Brown out of harm's way. Intended for Adams. A lot of jostling and wrestling. Adams protesting for the interference. And there's a flag down at the 42-yard line and a player down at the 36.
I think James Brown may have crossed the line of scrimmage as he broke contain to the outside. This was an all-out blitz. When you hear somebody say they brought the kitchen sink, this was the kitchen sink being brought by Virginia Tech. Both safeties coming up the middle, straight man-to-man coverage down the field, and an ineligible man downfield on the scramble.
That's Corby Brooks for Texas, who is shaken up on the play. He's a 6'4", 280-pound senior. Nice to see him get up.
Take a look at the blitz now. Watch the safeties come right up the gut, and James Brown knows he's got to get out of the pocket. There's not enough blockers in there to pick everybody up. You see the pressure from Simonis on the outside, but Brown with the quickness to turn the corner, and then he just tries to take a chance downfield. Good elusiveness by James Brown.
Time now for this Hokie defense maybe to take a look at that lunch pail on the sidelines that they draw so much inspiration from. They have a lunch pail on the sidelines that they rub and touch for inspiration and motivation. And right here and right now, it's 3rd down and 5. And you can hear the vociferous Hokie faithful. Out of the shotgun, James Brown. Flag down on the play, complete to Matt Davis for a first down at the 46-yard line. But let's see what this flag is about. Davis complete for 16 yards. Brown threw the ball, Todd, with a lot of authority that time. His arm appears to be okay. But it's against the Longhorns, and it'll come back. Here's the call.
Illegal formation. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
You can take a look. I think it's going to be on the left side. They don't have enough guys up on the line of scrimmage. One of these receiver has to come up, but watch how they're asking this left guard, the new left guard in the game, to have to swing out and get this outside rusher. He's not able to get there for the block, but James Brown does a nice job stepping up inside that outside rush. But you must have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. That time, too many guys lined up in the backfield for Texas.
As a result, it's 3rd down and 11. Brown gets it off, and it's almost intercepted by Larry Green. He had a beat on it, but couldn't squeeze it. Regardless, Texas will punt it away. Another good defensive sequence by the Hokie defense. Last time on the punt return, Brian Still took it back for a touchdown. This time, they send back Larry Green.
Mark, you don't think this Virginia Tech defense is one of the best in the country? Texas averaged 433 yards per game on offense tonight. In the first half, only 119 so far in the ballgame.
Numbers telling the story. Schultes with a line drive. down. Is it a loose ball? It might be. It may have hit a Hokie player. Virginia Tech has the ball at the 18.
Mark, I want to tell you what happened on this play. The return man, Green, thought that the ball bounced off of a guy who was coming down the block, and there was some confusion there. He didn't know whether he needed to get on the football or not. If he would have been sure that it didn't touch anybody, he would have run away from the football, but he thought it bounced off one of his blockers and thought he needed to recover it. This was almost a huge break for Texas. Now watch Green as the ball comes down. Does it hit his teammate? It looks like it does hit his foot. Larry Green then knows, I better get on the football. Nobody jumps on it for Texas, and it's just that hesitation right there. Larry Green realized the ball hit the foot of his blocking man, and he better fall on the football, and they are very lucky that they recovered it.
Todd, Steve Bradley, number 89 for Texas, could have jumped on it.
Yeah.
He did not know that it was a live brawl. 56 seconds to go in the half. Druckenmiller on the flanker screen, and Brian Still can move it. Out of bounds with the first down, subsequently stopping the clock with 48 seconds to play in the half. Number 17 picks up 18 on that play, tackled by number 17, Trey Thomas.
They really do a good job throwing this wide receiver screen. They get it quickly into the hands of the wide receiver, Brian Still. They get one blocker out there, and they allow him to use his quickness to make another guy miss. Now, Virginia Tech is still in the no huddle, but they'll speed up their pace now. With 48 seconds left in the half, they'll speed up their pace, and they still have 3 timeouts to run their offense.
Brackens may have jumped offside. The pass complete at the 46-yard line to Jermaine Holmes, the second leading receiver on this Hokie offense.
Nice job by Druckenmiller, knowing that he had a free play when he drew Brackens off sides. Go ahead and make the throw downfield. Take a chance at a big play.
It was offside against Texas. 41 seconds to play in the first half. Holmes with 6 touchdowns on the season, and we're going to take a timeout on the field.
Defense, penalty decline, first down.
Wait for the call, the first down. And panoramic view of the Louisiana Superdome, and right now let's check in with some other ABC programming. Some of Todd Blackledge's best friends know exactly what year we're about to usher in. About 4 hours away from midnight Central Time, and a look at Adel Larson, native of Scandinavia, career-long field goal of 48 yards, so they still need to move the ball a little bit with 41 seconds to go to get into his range time.
Well, I was watching him warm up, and he has a very strong leg as well. We already saw the leg strength of Dawson, but Larson kicking in the dome as well. I think he could maybe stretch that out to around a 50, 51-yard field goal if need be. That timeout was taken by the Texas defense, so Virginia Tech still has all 3 of their timeouts. Very important for Jim Druckenmiller to remember now. He's got plenty of opportunities to throw the ball into the middle of the field and stop the clock with the timeouts. He doesn't have to just work the sideline here in the 2-minute situation, but he really can't afford. The one thing he cannot afford to do here is take a sack. They're across the 50. They've got to get positive yardage out of all their plays.
Druckenmiller becoming a curator of clock right here. Rolling out. Incomplete intended for Cornelius White, stopping the clock with 34 seconds to go. He pretty much knew that that play had been blown up and it was dead. Trey Thomas defending White. It'll be 2nd down and 10 to go. 34 seconds to play in the first half. White catching 22 passes this year, a total of 312 yards. Ball on the 46. Druckenmiller studies film constantly. He pictures the game in his mind before every contest. 4 wideouts for the Hokies on this play. He steps up and throws it away, stopping the clock with 27 ticks to go in the first half.
Texas doing a nice job just playing zone defense here. They called that timeout to make sure they got what they wanted defensively. A 4-man rush. They're playing zone behind it, and right now Jim Druckenmiller having trouble finding where to go with the football. Good coverage in the zones by Texas.
Look at his 3rd down efficiency. He's 3 of 6. Converting 2 times. They've got to get to the 36-yard line for first down. It's 3rd down and 10. And at that point, they would still not quite be in Larson's range.
They move Tony Brackens to an inside rush position here. He's not on the end. He's inside over the guard.
They're coming on the blitz. Is it complete? No. The official says no. It was intended for Scales. Tony Holmes was providing the coverage.
Take a look again. Pretty good throw by Druckenmiller. The strong throw to the sideline. Does he get 1 foot down? No. Good call by the official right there on the sideline, watching it the whole way.
And into punt now is John Thomas. Chris Carter, the safety, having a great day. Knocking up a couple of passes, knocking down a couple of passes. Calls for the fair catch.
We've seen the Virginia Tech defense come through for the Hokies. That's a great stand by the Texas defense. The ball was across the 50-yard line. They called a timeout. They brought everybody over to the sideline, and they came out with 3 big plays in a row, forcing the punt here at the end of the first half. Good defense by Gary Darnell's troops for the Texas Longhorns.
It's interesting, Todd. I was almost expecting a higher scoring game at this point, but the 2 defenses playing extremely well so far. As we look at the head of the defense for Texas, Gary Darnell. A lot of talent on his unit. 15 seconds to play in the first half. Texas with 2 timeouts remaining. Ricky Williams, a former high school player of the year in San Diego, California, takes it out over the 25, and that effectively will end the first half of play. It's in the books. The Longhorns carrying the banner for the Southwest Conference for the last time in its 82-year history. A look at what they have done under Mackovic when leading at halftime. Impressive? Yeah, I think so. 21-0-1. The score at halftime, Texas 10, Virginia Tech Hokies 7. Right now, we're going to check in with John Saunders in New York. John. Thanks. As we begin the second half of the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Here's the kick from Dawson. Banks at the 9. Has a seam. Couldn't stay on his feet, and the kicker, Phil Dawson, tackles him at the 41-yard line. But a very auspicious way to begin this third quarter. A 33-yard return for the Hokies and Antonio Banks. Let's check back in with those game stories, Todd Blackledge.
Well, what did Virginia Tech have to do? They had to handle Tony Brackens. They've done that in the first half. Get the ball downfield to Brian Still, 4 catches, 38 yards. The big play came on a return, and they had to get disciplined pressure on James Brown. Nice job in that first half. 2 sacks, 5 hurries. They kept him contained in that first 30 minutes of play.
Time now for this Hokie offense to give the defense a little bit of help. Dwayne Thomas brought down behind the line of scrimmage at the 38 by number 96, Chris Akins, and number 55, Stoney Clark. A look at the halftime statistics. Something that jumps out at you are those 2 Virginia Tech turnovers. They didn't pay for it too much, though, Todd, on the scoreboard, just down 3, as you mentioned.
Well, you can see Virginia Tech led in yardage with 172, but as you mentioned, Mark, the 2 turnovers, and really they were very lucky that that wasn't 3 turnovers and this score was not 17-0 instead of 10-7, the interception that almost was.
2nd and 12. Druckenmiller. Oh, and what a hit by Westbrook. He jacked him at the 35. Somebody answer the phone, maybe a Nokia phone, because Edmonds got his wrong. Hello, Big Daddy.
It's the same play that they had a pretty successful play in the first half, and you can see Brian Edmonds is looking up at the roof of the Superdome trying to figure out where he's at. They ran the same double screen. You take a look at the pass rush by Brackens. He's going to force the throw early, right in the face of Druckenmiller. Had Druckenmiller been able to see what was out there awaiting Edmonds, he probably would have thrown it away. He couldn't see that Westbrook was ready to make the big sticker. He probably would have thrown this one in the turf. Westbrook just laid in wait on the double screen and came up with the big collision.
I'm telling you, Todd, when Brian Edmonds comes to, his clothes are going to be out of style. We can only hope that he's okay.
Yeah.
Because he took a shot that time from Bryant Westbrook.
We've seen Westbrook make about 4 hits like that tonight. I mean, he is not only a great cover guy, but he is a physical cornerback, and that's great to see right there, seeing Edmonds running off the field. But credit Tony Brackens for getting the quick pressure on Druckenmiller. He forced that throw, and probably a throw without the pressure that wouldn't have been made.
And it was nice to see Westbrook go over and check to see if Edmonds was all right and actually help him up off the carpet. If I'm Edmonds, I'm telling the quarterback, Druckenmiller, don't throw me any more of those passes, please. 3rd down and 12. Edmonds and Parker. Thomas and Parker in the backfield. Complete to the tight end. Jennings, who tries to crawl on the rug for the 1st down, but he's far short. They'll have to punt it away. A good sequence for the Texas defense.
Ryan Jennings is upset there because he knows if he would have stayed on his feet, he had a chance to turn it upfield and at least get a shot at getting to the 1st down, but he fell, he lost his footing and fell as soon as he made the catch, therefore had no chance at making the 1st down.
Thomas punting from his 30, Adams back on his 20. This is a shank job. And it's down at the 38-yard line. But there is a flag down on the field. And it appears to be against Texas.
Yeah, I think they're going to call running into the kicker, but I believe it's only going to be a 5-yard penalty, which will not give Virginia Tech the 1st down. Let's take a look at it. Did they get a deflection on the ball? That's the question. I think he just flat out shanked it. I don't think anybody from Texas touched the football. The way it came off his foot, it looked like there was a deflection.
Didn't see anybody touch Thomas either. Michael Beaudoin may have gotten a piece.
5 yards, running into the kicker. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Well, that's a break for Virginia Tech because Texas was going to get excellent field position off of that bad punt. They don't get the 1st down, but at least they get a chance to try to pin the Longhorns deeper in their own territory with a better punt.
Thomas will get another crack at this one. He's had 3 inside the 20 already today. Just underway here in the 3rd quarter. That's Mike Adams at the 10. Adams averaging 17 yards every time he touches the ball. One of the more dangerous punt returners in the country. He calls for the fair catch at the 18-yard line. So the playmaker doesn't get a chance to make a play on that one after the 33-yard punt. So things work out a little bit better for Virginia Tech.
What did Texas have to do in the ballgame? They had to first handle Cornell Brown. They did a good job of that. They had to maintain their balanced attack. Pretty good job. Only 49 yards rushing. That doesn't look like much, but at least they were able to keep them off balance enough to have the 10-7 lead. Solid kick protection. Virginia Tech didn't block a punt, but they were able to get a deflection on one punt. That'll still be a key issue in the 2nd half of the ballgame.
Here's James Brown on Texas's 1st possession of the 3rd quarter. Mitchell on the right side off tackle out to the 19-yard line, picked up about 2. Mitchell's a guy who takes pride running inside and outside. The tackle made by Hank Coleman, number 6. Good combination of speed and power, and now Mitchell will check out of the ball game along with Jeffrey Clayton.
You know, Mark, Texas had the ball 9 possessions in the 1st half. Their one scoring drive, they went 67 yards for a touchdown. All their other 8 drives combined, it was a total of 59 yards. So great defense by Virginia Tech in that 1st half. Let's check for the 2nd half adjustments by Texas.
2nd and 9, complete to Mike Adams near the 1st down at the 28-yard line, just a foot beyond the 28, and he'll have the 1st down for Texas. Adams now with 5 receptions on the day for a total of 80 yards. Yarborough and Simonas making the tackle. Simonas has had a good night for Virginia Tech defensively. In on a lot of tackles. Intense, always in position.
As I mentioned, he and Torian Gray, the strong safety, really are identical players, just play on opposite sides of the field. It's really like having 2 strong safeties. That's how they get that 8 men around the football. They play with 2 basically strong safeties.
Play fake by Brown, stretching the defense for Adams. Incomplete. Two Hokie defenders back there on the pass. Larry Green was one of them, and Green is down on the AstroTurf. Antonio Banks is also there helping out on Adams.
Green is really going to play this well. We saw Westbrook play the deep post well for Texas. Take a look at Larry Green now in good position, playing the deep post. He's in perfect position coming over the top. He's right there to make a play, and I think he just fell funny. Looked like he fell on his right shoulder a little bit as he went to the turf, and he appears to be okay, but good position by Larry Green on the deep post. He knew he had safety help to the middle, but he was in perfect position to make the play.
Todd, as a result, we are looking at 2nd and 10. Green off the field. James Brown, 8 of 16 for a total of 87 yards. Brown out of Beaumont, Texas. Top-rated quarterback prospect out of high school a couple of years ago. There's the counter tray to Ricky Williams. Todd, that's one of the few times that we've seen them use that play today. Tackle made by Del Rico and William Yarborough. Ricky Williams, one of the key players offensively for Texas.
We heard Frank Beamer say that Virginia Tech has been a good second-half team. Take a look at this. 10 of 11 opponents held to 7 points or less in the second half. The only team to score more than 7, the University of Akron, in a ball game that they were beaten 77-27. They're playing against a lot of subs at that point in the ball game.
It's 3rd and 7. Brown passes complete to Wayne McGarrett, and he's far short of the first down. The Hokie defense responds, and Texas will have to punt again. Number deuce 1, Brandon Simona is in on the tackle. And Brown will head for the sidelines as Virginia Tech will get its hands on the ball again. 11:20 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
This team can really get pressure on the quarterback. Watch as James Brown, he's in the shotgun, so he's already 5 yards deep. Then he retreats 5, and he has to keep retreating. I mean, he ends up being about 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage by the time he makes that throw, and it comes up short.
Hey, Todd, Brian Still is standing on his own 28-yard line. The last time he got his hands on the ball, he returned it for a touchdown, 60 yards. This time, he lets it bounce, and that may have not been a good decision because it is down at the 11-yard line. It traveled 56 yards. Tech trailing by 3. The Hokies will get their hands on the football starting at their own 11-yard line after that 55-yard punt in the 62nd edition of the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Texas leads Virginia Tech 10-7. Edmonds back in the ball game. Good to see, along with Dwayne Thomas. This is Thomas, number 42, over the left side, gets about 5 yards. 5'11", 197-pound senior. Doesn't have breakaway speed, but he is efficient. He's brought down by Trey Thomas and Kyle Richardson that time. Let's check in with Dean Blevins.
Hey guys, got a basketball coach here, Bill Foster. Congratulations on win number 500 today at Virginia Tech.
Thanks, it's a good one, but I told him I'm lucky to have a job with 300 losses.
Well, it was an unusual situation because they moved the game from your home court down here to New Orleans to beat Wright State.
It was a home game, but this is a real family atmosphere at Virginia Tech. We wanted to be with Frank and the football guys. We don't have any bigger fans than them. We're their biggest.
All right, back to you guys. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, Dean, on the play, it's Edmonds. That time hanging on to the pass from Druckenmiller. And interestingly and ironically enough, Edmonds took a hit from number 30, Bryant Westbrook, but this time he bounced off.
Well, this time he had his eyes downfield. He saw where the hit was going to come from, and he was able to lower his body a little bit, get good leverage, and bounce off that hit. And, you know, it's a lot different when you don't see the guy coming. Watch Westbrook read into the backfield. He turns the receiver loose. But see, Edmonds had already turned upfield and was able to drop that shoulder a little bit and turn up and break the tackle.
Todd sets up 3rd down and 2 for the Hokies. Little movement, flag down on the play, incomplete. Let's see who this penalty is against. Tony Brackens appeared to jump offside, but was it in response to the offense? We'll see.
They're moving Tony Brackens around a lot. This time they moved him right over the right guard, and I think he moved and made contact.
Ball foul, offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
See, the reason that there's Bracken's 98 right here. Now watch, he's going to make contact with the center. And the reason that they called it a dead ball penalty was because he reached out and touched the center. Otherwise, they would have let that play go and had a chance.
And it's a freebie for the Hokies. First down and 10 from the 24. Got to take it any way you can get it. Back shifting into the I now. Thomas breaking through the initial wave of tacklers for the first down out to the 36-yard line. Chris Carter was the last line of defense on that 11-yard pickup. Jason Reeves also in on the stop.
I think the adjustment we're seeing from Virginia Tech and their offensive coordinator, Ricky Bussell, in the first half is that, hey, we've got to run the ball in between the tackles a little bit better in this second half. Texas has better speed maybe than we anticipated. Running to the perimeter has not been real effective. Let's see if we can use our big offensive line and get a push on the inside and let our tough tailback, Dwayne Thomas, run the ball between the tackles.
Thomas 11 for 52 yards today. Druckenmiller, Stoney Clark chasing him down from behind, and Druckenmiller falls forward to the 36-yard line. Robert Reed also in pursuit.
Mark, that was a play where Druckenmiller wanted to throw the quick screen, but remember the last time he threw the quick screen and there was too much pressure and he couldn't make the read not to throw it? Watch, he's going to have time to see that this is not open. Bryant Westbrook is going to be right there to make the play, but because there's no pressure, Druckenmiller knows, hey, I don't have to force the throw out there. I'll just take it upfield and get what I can get. That's a good heads-up play by the quarterback.
And making something out of nothing. As we approach 8 minutes remaining in the third period, 2nd and 10. Edmonds crashing out over the 40, brought down at the 41-yard line. He'll be about 4 yards short of the first down. Chris Carter and Shane Rink making the tackle. Rink, number 73, has had a good year for Texas. 73 has responded to the challenge that the coaches put to him in the spring. Has had a surprisingly productive season. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Take a look at what Virginia Tech has done on 3rd down. They have had 0 short yardage situations on 3rd down. Everything has been 4 yards or more. This is a pretty workable situation. 3rd down and 4.
Still is split wide to the bottom of your screen. Druckenmiller looks his way, but it's batted down. Is it picked off? No. It's ruled incomplete. Druckenmiller looked to the wide side of the field to Still, but somebody got a big paw up there and batted the ball down, much to the delight of Gary Darnell, the defensive coordinator for Texas.
Druckenmiller really tried to drive this ball in. I mean, he's a tall quarterback. You'd think he'd be able to get that throw off without somebody from Texas getting a deflection, but the deflection and almost an interception by the defensive tackle, Shane Rink.
Appeared to be Tony Brackens, Todd, that got that hand up and knocked it down. Adams. Now he's a step in front of him. It's Chris Carter. Carter cut off Adams. 34-yard punt, 7 on the return. Texas leading by 3. The city of New Orleans on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. The city really has put on its best dress for this week in the 62nd edition of the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Todd, how's your cholesterol this week? I'm telling you, we have consumed mucho gumbo.
Yeah, I won't have to eat gumbo for a couple months, I don't think, but it has been outstanding down here.
My cholesterol is up to about 400. Wayne McGarity and Ricky Williams in the backfield. Brown to pass. They're blitzing, and Simonis gets him from behind. The 3rd sack of the day for the Hokie defense. They brought everything.
Simonis is going to come from the top left of your screen. Now, James Brown doesn't see him right here. He thinks all he has to do is beat the guy that he can see to his right. Simonis comes off the backside on the outside linebacker blitz. Here's Simonis. Watch him get to the outside and get the pursuit on James Brown. Nobody picks him up. They tried to bring an offensive lineman out late, but Simonis was too quick for that.
2nd down and 19. Ricky Williams down at the 27-yard line. You know, want to take time now to send our thoughts and prayers out to Bill Little, who gave us all a scare. That's Bill, second in from the left, the assistant athletic director at Texas. Thanks a lot, Todd Blackledge. Bill gave us all a scare earlier this week when he suffered a heart attack. But for everyone out there listening, we're glad to say that Bill is okay and in good health and back on the JOB. He's one of the best in the business. 3rd down and 14 to go. They blitz again. Brown incomplete, short hops it for the 3rd time today to Justin McLemore.
Well, this was a little different pressure. This time they came with a corner blitz. This is going to be Lauren Johnson, number 12. That's going to come from the bottom right of your screen, unblocked. You see the lineman pulled out. He had to pick up Del Rico. There was one extra defender. Lauren Johnson came off the corner blitz and forced the quick throw by James Brown. Good pressure by the Virginia Tech defense.
Schultes with his 8th punt coming up. This time, Virginia Tech sends back Larry Green, who's sending his own 35. Green lets it bounce to the 35, and it's out of bounds at about the 33. In the Nokia Sugar Bowl, the score is still Texas 10, Virginia Tech 7. We'll be right back. Look at the riverboat heading down the majestic Mississippi. No doubt a few people putting down a few bets. A little roulette maybe, blackjack. Texas fans showing up en masse.
I still think Virginia Tech needs to try to get the ball downfield to Brian Still, and they should try to do it when he's matched up against Tajee Allen rather than Bryant Westbrook.
He's split wide to the top of your screen right now. Druckenmiller out of the backfield, complete to Marcus Parker. And Parker stretches out to the 41. It'll be 2nd down and about 3 yards to go. Let's go downstairs to Dean Blevins and do that quarterback thing. Dean?
Do that quarterback thing. You know, guys, I don't have real small hands. Pretty normal, as a matter of fact. But yesterday we hooked up with Jim Druckenmiller at practice. Take a look at Jim's hand compared to mine. Is that unbelievable? Hey, Todd, that's bigger than yours, big boy.
You got that right. I mean, he only has to have about one pinky on the lace in order to have good control of the football.
This time, this is Ken Oxendine. Oxendine has the 1st down at the 47-yard line. Roughed up by Chris Carter. You know, Oxendine's a player who, if you're Virginia Tech, you like to see him in there because he has that big play potential. He has that breakaway speed more so than Dwayne Thomas. And that's not a knock against Thomas because he's played well, but Oxendine is that home run hitter in the backfield.
And he has a striking resemblance to Herschel Walker looking
he really
through
does.
the helmet there. I played against Herschel in this game back in 1983, and Oxendine, every time I see him, he reminds me of Herschel.
Play fake by Druckenmiller. Has a man wide open. Jennings this time. He catches it and rolls down to the 26-yard line. 1st down, Hokies. And the group from Blacksburg is letting their appreciation be heard. Allen making the tackle. Jennings making up, Todd, for that drop late in the 1st half.
Well, here's Jennings here, and Mark, we've seen that the corners are pretty good for Texas. This time, Druckenmiller's going to go back on the play action and work his tight end deep down the middle. The corners are covering his wide receiver pretty well. The deep crossing route by the tight end. Run off the safety with your wide receivers and throw the end to your tight end. Good call by Ricky Bussell.
This Hokie offense has been unable to close the sale today. It up the middle that time. Play blown up. Oxendine had nowhere to go. Kyle Richardson made the tackle. Well, January 13th marks the return of college basketball in ABC's Wide World of Sports. First, Payne Weber College Basketball has 3 big regional games, including a Pac-10 matchup at a special time. Then, on the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports, the ladies take to the ice in the NutraSweet World Challenge of Champions. Don't miss the excitement. January 13th, right here, you know where, on ABC Sports. 3:40 to play in the 3rd period, 10-7 for Texas in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Flags down on the play. Oxendine in the flat. Dancing down to the 23. Kyle Richardson in on another tackle. Let's get the read on these flags. It's a against Virginia Tech. You can't self-destruct this deep in Texas territory for the Hokies.
Well, they would have had an offsides penalty against Brackens because he was drawn off by the snap count, but Oxendine just got a little antsy and started into the pattern. Take a look at Oxendine. That's him right here. Now Brackens is going to come off sides, but he's able to get back. Once Oxendine started moving forward, that's a penalty.
5-yard penalty, previous spot, repeat second down.
But you try to tell a back, if he forgets the snap counter, if he does that, you say, take one step and freeze because you have to be set for 1 second, or just go ahead and go in motion. I mean, if you're going to run a pass route, go lateral to the line of scrimmage rather than forward. That way you can get away with making that move.
And Oxendine tends to do everything fast. That time a little bit too anxious. The Hokies 6-0 on the road this year. A 9-game winning streak on the line. Texas has won 6 straight. Second down and 13 out of the shotgun. Druckenmiller complete. Still at the 2. A 27-yard pickup. First and goal, Hokies.
And that's what they had to do. Get the ball downfield to Still and do it away from Bryant Westbrook. Westbrook has proved that he is too hard to beat in the single situations. He's up against Tajee Allen, or in the slot against Trey Thomas, rather. And that's a good matchup for Virginia Tech. That's man-to-man, your best receiver against the strong safety who is the worst man-to-man cover guy in that secondary. That's what you want if you're Virginia Tech. You got to find those situations and exploit them. That time Jim Druckenmiller did.
Still made a great adjustment on the ball as well. It was thrown over the other shoulder. 5 catches, 65 yards for the junior. Scratch that senior. Brian Still, full house backfield. Touchdown Hokies. Parker makes the call. Make a little noise if you're from Blacksburg, Virginia.
Great push on the left side, full house backfield. He's got 2 lead blockers. He's got the left side, and nobody touched Marcus Parker as he made his way into the end zone. Good goal line running play by the Hokies.
Virginia Tech taking the lead for the first time in this ball game. 13-10, and Larson in for the extra point. Make that 14-10. In the Nokia Sugar Bowl, it's Marcus Parker giving the Hokies the lead. We'll be right back. Mark Jones, Todd Blackledge, and Dean Blevins here in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. It's 14-10, Virginia Tech leading. Todd, at the Nokia Sugar Bowl parade yesterday, I picked up a couple of things for you. I hope these beads go with your jacket.
They match my tie perfectly, thank you.
I'm not sure. It's almost party time for Virginia Tech now taking the lead.
Well, that was a great offensive drive. They haven't had much success offensively, but the big pass from Druckenmiller to Brian Still that got him inside the 5. Huge play for the Hokies.
Yeah, the coaches told us earlier in the week that Brian Still would be a huge key in this ball game. Virginia Tech fans number over 30,000 here in the Superdome. Can you pass me that noisemaker, Todd?
Here you go.
2:32 to play now in the 3rd period. Mike Adams still wants to get his hands on one to return it. Larson drills this one. Anything in the air that long should have a movie or a flight attendant on it. 7 yards deep in the end zone. And Texas now trailing, starts from its own 20-yard line.
Texas has to find some way, Mark, to kind of slow down the pass rush, slow down the aggressive nature of this Virginia Tech defense. I mean, you can maybe try to do it with some draw plays, some screen plays, something to counteract the aggressiveness, maybe even a reverse. Get this team reacting to the flow one way and come back with a reverse, but they've got to do something to take some of the heat off of James Brown.
They send out 3 wide receivers on 1st and 10, faking the counter. The end around, that's Sean Mitchell. He's the one with speed. Mitchell out over the 30. And boy, Todd, that crystal ball is working pretty well. It's working real well on New Year's Eve. A pickup of 11 yards and a first down for Texas. Larry Green pushed him out of bounds.
Take a look at Texas. Through the year, the great balance, over 200 yards, both running and throwing the football, under 100 yards in both categories tonight. But that was a big play on first down. They took a little the edge off the aggressiveness there with the reverse and got him some breathing room out past the 30-yard line. Good play call by John Mackovic.
He is one of the best in the business at making adjustments. 2:24 to play in the third quarter. Brown tries to get outside, almost had it picked off. And it's now ruled incomplete at the 43. It was tipped, and Brown took a hit after he threw it.
Mark, Larry Green has had his hands on 3 balls tonight, I think, that could have very easily been interceptions. There was great pressure by Myron Newsom. That forced the throw. Watch Newsom, 55, get the good pressure. And Larry Green, for about the 3rd time tonight, gets both hands on the football and can't make the interception. And you can see the frustration on the body language of Larry Green.
Good question. He could have, maybe should have had that. Brown has connected on only 3 of his last 10 tosses. 2:18 to play in the third quarter. They trail by 4. Here's the counter. Mitchell squaring those shoulders, turning upfield over the 35 to the 36-yard line. He'll be about 4 yards short of the first down on 3rd coming up. Boy, the Miami Dolphins taking a hit yesterday, losing to Buffalo. And what do you think, Todd, about the future of head coach Don Shula?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. He's been a great coach. He's had a great career, and you hate to see it end on a sour note. And I got to say a special congratulations to my dad, the offensive line coach for the Indianapolis Colts. That's a big playoff win on the road today for the Colts. He's not able to watch the game. He's flying home right now, but I'm sure he's having a good time.
All right. 3rd down, 6 to go. Browns passing. Complete. Good sidestep by Ricky Williams. Did he get the first down? It's on the ground. And now it's ruled that he was down. Ricky Williams juked the opponent to gain a little more yardage. But I'm not sure he made the first down.
This is really good footwork by Williams in the open field. The little sidestep and then the leg strength to pull out of that tackle and push past the marker for the first down. That's just good individual effort by Ricky Williams to get the first down.
Ricky Williams, heck of an athlete. He's in the Philadelphia Phillies baseball chain, drafted by the Phillies out of high school, and he used his signing bonus money to pay for his sister's education. Here's Sean Mitchell. As that offensive line now for Texas begins to really fire off the ball. Mitchell out to the 48-yard line and gives it a little shake.
Let's take a look at the end of this pass to Ricky Williams now. Is his knee on the ground before the ball comes out? He's using his left hand to stay down. His right hand hits the ground and the ball comes out before really his knee is down. That should have been a fumble, and the ball should have belonged to Virginia Tech at that spot. They ruled it down by contact, but really excellent balance by Ricky Williams. That was a fumble.
Yeah, good call, good pictures by the guys in our truck, Jim Ressler, Norm Salmon. Here's Mitchell again, over the left side that time. He's about 3 yards short of the first down with 17 seconds to play now in the third quarter. It's the 62nd edition of the Nokia Sugar Bowl. It hasn't been easy for either team so far in the Big Easy. Yes, 4 fingers because we're looking at the fourth quarter coming up. We'll return with more action between Virginia Tech and Texas after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We are back in, is it Nolens, Tom? How do they say it down here? Nolens?
Yeah, that's how they say it.
It's not New Orleans, it's Nolens, right?
Yep.
We're about to begin the fourth quarter in this Nokia Sugar Bowl. Texas with the ball, 3rd down and 4. They're 1 for 10 in these situations. Williams and McGarity in the backfield. Brown complete to Davis over the middle, first down.
Nice quick throw that time by James Brown. You don't need great protection when you're going to throw it that quick.
Take a look at the third quarter stats. You can see Virginia Tech starting to stretch their lead in total yardage now, 272 yards. That's why they've got the 14-10 lead. They've overcome their 2 turnovers of the first half, and they've started to move the football a little bit better. Matt Davis, who caught that ball, he's almost like a tight end, Mark. He's 6'5", 215 pounds, so he's a big target moving into the middle of the field there. Nice throw and catch from Brown to Davis.
Twins right formation for the Horns. Brown tried to hit Mitchell, who came out of the backfield, sat down to the 48, but it's knocked down by J.C. Price. .31 to play in the ball game now. John Mackovic.
It's a battle of the minds now. A close ball game in the fourth quarter. John Mackovic trying to find the right combinations.
There's the toss to Mitchell. Couldn't get to the perimeter. Tackled to the 44-yard line. Gained about 2, maybe 3. Newsom and Torian Gray made the tackle. Gray made all conference in the Big East this year. Mentioned their most versatile player in the secondary. Came up to me at practice and said, "I want you to call me Big Play Gray, Mark Jones." So, well, yeah, you know, you got to give me something then.
He is a very talented player. He's got the whole package, the size, the speed, the ability to cover, the ability to come up and make plays in the running game. He's a very versatile defender.
And he's coming on the blitz on this play, but Brown gets it away, and he's picked off. It's intercepted by William Yarborough, his 6th of the season, and that is tops on the team, and that James Brown does not feel good.
Well, there's going to be an all-out blitz by Virginia Tech. Now here comes the safety, Gray, but Newsom, number 55, is the guy who's going to get to the quarterback, James Brown. Here comes the safety. The back takes the safety. Nobody blocks Myron Newsom, and he forces the quick throw right into the hands of the free safety, William Yarborough. Good call by Bud Foster, bringing the safety blitz. The back did the right thing. You know, when you get an all-out blitz, you want to block the inside guys, and if you turn anybody loose, you make it be the outside-most defender. But Myron Newsom was so quick getting to the quarterback, he still forced the bad throw.
It has been the story, Todd, of their season. The defense forcing big plays. Druckenmiller complete to Jennings. Jennings becoming an integral part of this offense today. 12 yards, first down, Hokies. The tackle by Thomas.
You put your quarterback in the shotgun to get him away from the pressure. So you already put him 5 yards back. But look at the explosive speed of Myron Newsom, how quickly he's right on top of James Brown. You put him back there, you think he's going to have time even against the blitz, but not with a quick guy like Myron Newsom.
Yeah, Brown has taken some hits today too, Todd.
Yeah, he sure has. He's a tough guy. We've seen that. Now, if nothing else, we know that both of these quarterbacks can take a hit.
Give us up the middle to the fullback. Out to the 47-yard line. That was Brian Edmonds, who was shaken up earlier in the game. Shane Rink making the tackle for the Longhorns.
I think part of why we're seeing Brian Jennings become more valuable of a receiver is out of respect that Virginia Tech has for the 2 corners, Westbrook and Allen. None of the big pass plays they've had have come against Allen or Westbrook. It's either been against linebackers on the inside or when they get the strong safety in a matchup situation. That's the only time they've gotten good plays in the passing game.
It is 2nd down and 7. So let's keep our eyes focused on Jennings as it goes on. Incomplete at midfield. And Chris Carter, the free safety, came over and made the hit on Jermaine Holmes.
Mark, this is a play that's just good execution. Now here's the corner coming on to blitz, and Druckenmiller's going to see it. So he's going to try to throw the quick throw, but the safety is going to come and make the tackle. It's good offensive read by the quarterback, but a good defensive play by the safety coming over to cover up for the blitzing corner and cause the incompletion.
Well, Carter wants to become a surgeon. He did surgery that time on Holmes. 3rd down and 7 for the Hokies. Texas coming on a blitz. Druckenmiller has still wide open. Touchdown Hokies.
because they're blitzing all the linebackers. That means there's no deep center fielder. It's man-to-man coverage, and Tajay Allen just got flat out beat to the post. When you got man-to-man coverage, you cannot give up the inside. If you don't have free safety help, that's the one place you can't get beat. And Brian Still showed you again why he's the big play guy. Flat out beat Tajay Allen on the post.
Larson in for the extra point. And the Blacksburg posse lead 21-10. Boy, did he shake the defender Allen. 21-10 in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. We'll be right back. Whether it's Virginia Tech's Jim Druckenmiller, right here connecting with Brian Still, or the great connection you can make with a Nokia cellular phone. Nokia knows the importance of connecting people. Did you see that shake off the line of scrimmage? And you know what? That shake, it must have been jelly because Jam can't shake like that.
Mark, it was a great move by Brian Still, but credit the offensive line and the backs of Virginia Tech. They saw the blitz, they hung in there, they picked everybody up that was rushing, and Jim Druckenmiller had time to wait for Brian Still to clear and to make the nice touch throw down the middle of the field. Great job by the offensive line in the back, picking up the blitz, and a great route by Brian Still.
You know, Todd, you really have to tip your hat to the Hokie offense. They really haven't panicked when they haven't been able to get that ball downfield to guys like Still, like they did on the last play. Instead, as you mentioned, choosing to go to the tight end, Jennings working underneath. Larson again drills this one 5 yards deep. Adams says, forget about it.
You know, we talked about how good Virginia Tech's run defense was. Take a look at their pass defense. The first game of the year against Boston College, the Eagles threw the ball pretty well. Hokies only had 1 sack, but the last 10 opponents, 44.8 completion percentage, 43 sacks, and 13 interceptions. James Brown tonight has completed 48% of his passes. He's thrown 1 interception, and he's been sacked 3 times. So ever since that first ball game, the Virginia Tech defense has not only been good against the run, they've been excellent against the pass as well.
Now it is time for James Brown and his offensive crew to go to work. They trail by 11 points with 12:28 to play. Play fake. And dropped by Mike Adams. Save the film and tape. You won't see that happen often. He may have thrown it a little bit behind him.
Yeah, that was a real tough catch because not only was it behind him, it was a little bit low, and Michael Adams had to both stop and reach down to right above his shoelaces to make the catch. And that was just a case where James Brown just didn't get quite enough on the football throwing that deep crossing route. Adams was open, but he couldn't make the throw. Take a look at that. 9 yards now in the 4th quarter for Texas. They really have to get some productivity out of their offense to get back in this ballgame.
In stark contrast to their performance against Texas A&M, where they really closed the game out well. Adams in motion. It's 2nd and 10. Brown complete to Adams at the 32. First down, move the chains. A 12-yard pickup by the playmaker. You know, the one thing that you have to give Michael Adams credit for as well is, Todd, you'll notice if you see him play enough, he's not afraid of running those slants over the middle. He'll take a hit. He'll risk it.
We talked about James Brown at the top of the show playing the whole year injured. Mike Adams played most of the year injured too. He had a bad leg for most of the year, and his real strength is his ability to accelerate it. He's healthier than he's been all season, and that's why he's having the good game tonight for the Longhorns.
Brown back to pass on 1st and 10. Incomplete. Fitzgerald, the tight end, begging and pleading for a flag, but he doesn't get it. And at this time, we'd like to take the opportunity to welcome our new affiliate right here in New Orleans, WGNO Channel 26. Beginning tonight at midnight, you can see all of your favorite ABC shows and tomorrow's Rose Parade, Citrus Bowl, and Rose Bowl game on WGNO Channel 26 in New Orleans. Welcome to the family, guys.
You know, Mark, you made reference to Texas's ball game against Texas A&M, and in that game, they gained 393 yards against what was at that time the #1 defense in the country. That says a lot about how good this Virginia Tech defense is. They have really held this explosive Longhorn offense in check tonight.
Bud Foster doing a great job. The screen pass to Fitzgerald. He's a versatile catcher and runner, and he shows you his skills right there. A 15-yard pickup and a first down for the Longhorns, and James Brown is complaining that it was a late hit he took.
Yeah, James Brown, he was a little bit frustrated. He's taken a lot of hits with the football and without the football. Cornell Brown's just going to come clean. It's not a real serious shot, but it does knock him to the ground after the ball has been thrown, and James says, hey, can I get a little help back here?
Can I get a witness? Brown has endured injuries all year. Didn't need that one. This is Ricky Williams. Lowers the hat and plows over a DB at the 43 and is down at the 40. 13 yards, first down for the Longhorns. For a baseball player, he's a heck of a running back, isn't he?
This is the power that Ricky Williams possesses. The full head of steam. He gets his shoulders upfield. And even though Killer's in good position to make the tackle, he's no match for Ricky Williams when he's got a full head of speed. Look at the power and the surge behind Ricky Williams. Runs right through the free safety, Yarborough.
And here's the counter. Sean Mitchell stepping over the 40 down to the 39-yard line. George Del Rico making the tackle. Del Rico 2 years ago, Todd, you want to talk about toughness. Here's a guy that played with a broken wrist all season long.
And when a guy plays hurt, his teammates gain a great respect for him. And I think George Del Rico probably is, along with Cornell Brown and J.C. Price, one of the most respected players on this team because he's shown that he'll play hurt and do whatever the team needs.
Two wideouts, two backs. They come on the blitz. Brown looking at Adams. You know what? Larry Green is going to want to play this one over tomorrow because he almost had another interception. One of these days, just one of these days, maybe, but good coverage nonetheless.
Yeah, but that was a great play by Larry Green because he was all on an island out there. Again, the free safety blitz, they were bringing both safeties. Texas picked it up. It was man-to-man coverage, and watch Green come inside. I mean, you got to have some confidence knowing that there's nobody behind you to go ahead and take a chance and cut in front of Michael Adams on a play like that. That's a heads-up play, a great play by Larry Green.
A critical 3rd and 9 coming up, Todd. 3 wide receivers. Davis in the slot. And he looks for Davis, and he's picked off by big play Torian Gray. And Gray sits down at the 33. Well, I told him that you better give me something if you wanted me to say big play, and he delivered right there.
James Brown just got fooled by the coverage. This is Torian Gray, and this is what we used to call 11 coverage. The one safety's going to hang right in the hole. The other safety's going to go deep and play the deep part of the field. Watch Torian Gray just hang in the middle and watch for the crossing route. As soon as he sees it, he steps right in front of the football, and James Brown never saw Torian Gray. All he saw was the guy running man for man with his receiver. He didn't expect Torian Gray to be hanging out in the middle. A lot of teams call that a robber defense or something where you're putting a guy in the middle of the field and his sole responsibility is to watch for crossing routes.
Look at the turnovers from the respective teams. Druckenmiller passing to a wide open Cornelius White. White tackled to the 48-yard line, but it's a Hokie first down near midfield. A pickup of 15 yards. The clock stops with 9:58 to play. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. But the clock now, Todd, becoming a bit of an issue maybe for Texas.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll tell you what, I'm impressed by the Virginia Tech offense. In the first half, they relied on the defense to keep them in the ballgame. They turned the ball over twice, and the defense and the special teams held them in. In the second half, the Virginia Tech offense is starting to move the football. They're mixing it up well, and they have really established themselves better here in the second half. 357 total yards now for the Hokies.
Boy, Tony Brackens almost intercepted the snap. I mean, he was that far in the backfield of Virginia Tech. The pass complete, meanwhile, to Brian Still, who is beginning to become a lot more active here in the second half. There's a flag down at the 48 on the far side of the field, and it's against Texas and Tony Brackens. Maybe anticipating a bit too much.
Yeah.
Tony Brackens was lined up on the outside, and it looked like T.J. Washington, the right tackle, did move his right foot, which caused Brackens to come across the line of scrimmage, but he was clearly over the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, and it's an offsides penalty against Texas.
Offside. Defense, 5-yard penalty from previous spot. Repeat first down.
Watch at the top of your screen. Now watch Washington move his right foot, but he doesn't move his hand and he doesn't move off the line of scrimmage, but Brackens reacted to that movement of the foot and came across the line of scrimmage. Might even been a situation where Washington did it on purpose, try to get him to come off the line of scrimmage, reading his movement.
Still with that completion, has 119 yards. That's a Hokie Bowl record in this Nokia Sugar Bowl today. Oxendine refusing to go down, unyielding, unrelenting at the 42. Ken Oxendine, the sophomore, the former high school player of the year in the state of Virginia, tackled finally by Kyle Richardson.
I made the statement earlier that anytime you win 9 games in a row in college football in this day and age, you're doing something well. And the thing I see about Virginia Tech, they may not be the most talented team in the country. Take a look at John Mackovic. But the one thing Virginia Tech does is they play hard, Mark. I mean, they play as hard as any team that I've seen this season on both offense and defense. They are a blue-collar team all the way, and they just kind of grind on you and grind on you, and they, you know, that's why they had the great season that they did.
And they are, Todd, that short from the first down. And you talk about the great season they had this year, a victory in this Nokia Sugar Bowl, and the exposure from national television is something that the program looks on very favorably if it should happen. It would help in recruiting and other ventures. A pensive, concerned-looking John Mackovic, the head coach of Texas. It is second down and short. The clock running with 9:05 to play in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. A handoff to Oxendine. He put it on the ground, and Texas has the ball. Ken Oxendine fumbled, and Texas is breathing better once again. It was recovered by Chris Carter, number 16.
Second time in the ball game that Oxendine has put it on the carpet. Take a look now. He just doesn't secure the football. You know at this point in the game, Texas needs something big to happen. They've got to create a turnover. They've got to get something big to happen. And Oxendine just has to put that ball down. It looked like his knee may have been down before the ball came out. He kind of kept moving.
It sure was, Todd.
It looked like his knee was down before the ball came out.
Kyle Richardson ripped it loose on the play. Here's another look. Was his knee down?
Take a look at the right knee of Ken Oxendine. Did it touch the ground, and did he pop back up off the ground, or did he just stumble and not touch the ground?
Well, right now, it really doesn't matter. Texas with the ball at midfield. 8:49 to play. James Brown at quarterback. Took a hit, but got it off, and it's incomplete. Mike Adams could not squeeze it. Larry Green was defending, but another look at that fumble by Ken Oxendine. Look at his right knee right there.
Let's take a look at it. Right there, his knee is clearly on the ground. That play should have been called dead. Right there, he popped back up instinctively, but it should not have been a fumble. That ball should still belong to Virginia Tech. It was kind of a bang-bang play because he popped up so quickly. The referee missed his knee on the ground.
You wonder if Oxendine may have psychologically let up a little bit when his knee hit. Brown's going to pass. Pressure. Incomplete. Justin McLemore had it, but couldn't squeeze it. The usually reliable McLemore, the sixth-year senior. Yes, sixth-year senior. Couldn't hang on, and that one hurts.
Yeah, this is a good throw by James Brown. Good protection. He steps up in the pocket and makes the good throw. And Brandon Simonis was beat clearly on the play, and he got a gift that time from Justin McLemore because he usually makes plays. Gene Dahlquist, the offensive coordinator, said McLemore this season has made more big clutch catches than I ever expected him to make this year. That was one that got away.
You could use that one. Here's McGarity. The inside pass, and there's a flag down at midfield, tackled by George Del Rico. Let's get the word on this infraction. It's against Virginia Tech. And don't forget tomorrow, folks, the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, the Buckeyes and the Volunteers. Both ranked number 4, followed by the Rose Bowl. Number 17 USC and the Cinderella team of 1995, Northwestern.
Now, Mark, there's been some great games and great stories in college football this year, but none greater than the Northwestern Wildcats and Gary Barnett. And that is a terrific story for the ages, I think, in college football, that he turned that thing around and they're playing in the Rose Bowl.
And more importantly, doing it the right way as well. The Hokie defense coming on strong, maybe inspired by the lunch pail, but Brown finds his receiver, Davis. First down at the 23-yard line. Banks making the tackle. A 21-yard pickup by Matt Davis.
Well, here's Matt Davis in the slot. It's just going to be the quick slant against man-to-man coverage, and you can see the quick throw by James Brown. Here's the blitz. So the safety's got to come over the top, and he was in bad position on that slant. William Yarborough, he's the guy who's got to make coverage. He expected him to break out on the blitz control. They ran the quick slant, and a big play for the Texas offense.
Now, Davis is so slim, his teammates say when he turns sideways that he disappears. Threw behind his receiver, incomplete, intended for Steve Bradley. And downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Guys, co-defensive coordinator Rod Sharpless in the offseason wanted to find something to symbolize the blue-collar work ethic of his defense. So he went out and found this old beat-up lunch pail, and in it during the preseason, he had each player write down his personal goals, and they came up with some team goals. And some people think this is hokey. The defense doesn't, and it's worked for them so far. They want to hope it works for them one more time.
All right, Dean, that thing is pretty beat up.
Good choice of words by Dean, too. Some people think it's hokey. I'm sure Virginia Tech thinks it's hokey. They love it.
Brown, incomplete. He was looking at McLemore. It'll be 3rd down and 10. The clock stopping with 7:44 to play. Texas trailing in this Nokia Sugar Bowl, 21-10. And the next play coming in now from John Mackovic. Texas with 3 timeouts remaining. Virginia Tech with 3 timeouts remaining. On the 24-yard line. Todd, at this juncture, does a field goal do Texas any good, or do you need a touchdown?
Well, you can kick a field goal and then think that if you score a touchdown, you've got to go for 2, because we've got overtime in the bowls now. So you can play for a tie and try to get it into overtime.
Out of the shotgun, 3rd and 10, pressure. Brown gets it off, and he's picked off by Torian Gray. The 2nd time in a row that Torian Gray picks it off. Lewis put pressure on Brown, and Gray reaped the rewards.
Mark, the pressure that Virginia Tech puts on the quarterback is relentless. I mean, this isn't even a starting defensive end. This is Lawrence Lewis, a backup. He goes right around Dominic Bustamante, and he forces the early throw. James Brown was just kind of fighting for his life. Watch him just throw it. Really doesn't know where he's throwing it. He's just trying to get rid of the ball and they avoid the sack. Right into the hands of Torian Gray, but it's the pressure, the constant pressure that the Hokies are able to apply that forces teams into bad plays.
Virginia Tech seems to be getting more pressure on Texas, even more so than Texas A&M did at this point. They run it up the middle. That was Dwayne Thomas now in for Oxendine. You would expect that Oxendine would not be carrying the ball that much more after a couple of fumbles. Thomas gets the call that time, tackled by Tyson King. Thomas named 2nd team All Big East Conference at 165 yards in their victory against Miami, 8 touchdowns on the season.
You mentioned Ken Oxendine probably won't carry too much. They'll probably give him a ball to carry around campus for the whole next semester. And just say, don't ever drop this thing the rest of the semester.
A little stickum too.
Get you ready for spring football, young man.
A little confusion in the backfield. Westbrook coming on the corner blitz. Druckenmiller wanted to throw that way. Instead he runs it. Yeah, he eats the ball.
Yeah, good decision. Don't make a bad play. Just get a positive game.
Tuesday night on ABC, the new year starts with new episodes of Roseanne and Tony Danza and Hudson Street. Then, Another great hour comedy with Home Improvement and Coach. And John Stossel takes a look at the trouble with lawyers. An ABC News special all Tuesday night right here on ABC. And at this time, I'd like to send a little love out to my family on this New Year's Eve from Miami, Florida, all the way up to Toronto, Canada. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Have a good 96. 3rd down and 2. Flag down. Dwayne Thomas isn't down, but he is now. He gets the 1st down at the 47-yard line, but hold on a minute because there's a flag down at the 37.
When that penalty's in the offensive backfield, it's always against the offense. That's holding. Whenever you see that flag back around where the quarterback stands, it's offensive holding. And Frank Beamer disgusted with that call. His team has really had a lot of penalties in this game. They're ahead by 11, but they have really had a lot of penalties. 9 in the ball game.
Offense, 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. Repeat 3rd down.
Frank Beamer trying to get his program up into that next echelon in college football. And right now they are taking on a traditional power in college football, Texas, and beating them 21-10 in this Nokia Sugar Bowl, the 62nd renewal.
I think Frank Beamer liked the fact that they were playing Texas because he points to a program like Texas and says, hey, that's where we want to go. That's the next level for us to be considered in the same breath as the Texases of the world.
3rd and 16, Druckenmiller on the in and up. Brian Still drops it. Number 17, Trey Thomas, came back on the ball.
The ball just hung in the air too long. I mean, it was a great idea to go ahead and take a shot, and Brian Still was open, but the ball had so much loft on it that it gave the defenders time to react. Watch Still. Now he's open as he breaks to the outside. If that ball has a little less loft, he makes the catch, but he has to wait for it, and that allows Trey Thomas to come and make a play on the ball. The ball's thrown a little flatter. It's a big play for the Hokies.
Thomas punting from his 11. If ever Texas needed to play from that man, Mike Adams, it's now. He's on his own 34.
Coming off the corner, Texas is going to try to get after the punter here.
Here they come. Don't get there. And Thomas gets off a nice punt. Adams with the fair catch at the 30. They're loving it in Blacksburg right now. Druckenmiller leading his team to an 11-point bulge with 5 1/4 left in the 4th. You know, when it comes to ABC's college football, we like to say, this is how we do it. Here's some of the sights and sounds. Well, 5:25 left for James Brown in Texas to make a comeback. And he throws it away. And guess who was there? Dorian Gray. 21-10, 5:19 to play. Let's update those Virginia Tech stories, Todd.
What did the Hokies have to do to win the football game? First, they had to handle Tony Brackens. 1 tackle, 0 sacks. They had to get the ball downfield to Brian Still. 6 catches, 119 yards, and the big touchdown. And they had to get good pressure, disciplined pressure on James Brown. 3 sacks, 7 hurries, and 3 interceptions they forced him into. I'd say they did everything they needed to do to put themselves in position to win.
Check, check, and check. 5:16 to play. Brown brought down at the 20-yard line. The 4th sack of the day for the Hokie gang. And it's a touchdown. It's ruled a touchdown. Jim Barron picks up the loose ball, runs it into the end zone, while everyone else hit the snooze bar. It appeared as if the ball were ruled dead, but it wasn't. Don't sleep on Mr. Barron.
Well, Cornell Brown is the guy who's going to get the sack and is going to knock the ball out. He's holding it loosely. Cornell Brown holds the ball, and right now the ball is on the ground. And Jim Barron picks it up and nobody touches him. I mean, it's a heads-up play by Jim Barron, and again, the Hokie defense scores points.
That one was one of the stranger plays that we've seen today.
Celebration. Penalty will be accepted on the kickoff. Touchdown, good.
Well, Frank Beamer is upset at Jim Barron because Jim Barron ran back into the end zone and kind of started a little dance, and that caused a lot of the fans, Texas fans, to throw some stuff out of the stands. Now, he's happy about the touchdown, but he's not happy about the penalty, and Jim Barron scooped it up and made a touchdown, but also created a penalty situation for his team. But at this point, I think Frank's got to lighten up a little bit and say, hey, big fella, way to be heads up and make the touchdown for us.
I don't want to think about taking a chill pill there. I mean, Barron, hey, that's what the French Quarter will do to you. These guys have been working that French Quarter in Bourbon Street early and often. And, hey, sometimes Frank, got to let him do a little dance. 28-10 for the Hokies in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Todd, this almost looks like a rugby scrum, doesn't it?
Well, it's a crazy play. Now watch Cornell Brown and Del Rico. They're going to get the tackle, and the ball's going to come out. Now right there's the football. Now watch it. Now you see it. Now you don't. Where's it at now? It's going to pop up right there, and Jim Barron is going to catch it on the fly. Nobody tackles him. Nobody marks him down. He's the only guy that had possession of the football, and he takes it into the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, that is one of the wilder plays that we've seen, and there's the lunch bucket, and they just keep on working.
Jim, I don't think you should be celebrating too much. Coach Beamer might find out about it again. They tack the yardage for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the kickoff, and the Hokies kickoff from the 20. And that's the type of second half that it's been now for Texas. Brian White can't find the handle. It's out of bounds at the 10.
Take a look at this now. In the last 5 games, now make it 6 games, they've scored 6 touchdowns, make that 7 now, and they've only allowed 8 touchdowns coming into the game, make that 9. 7 and 9 in the last 6 games. The Virginia Tech defense is a very offensive type of defense.
Yeah, they come on the field when the offense comes off and says, hold them till we get back. Downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Guys, I'm along the Texas bench, and these guys are just shell-shocked. I mean, they can't believe that it's happened so quickly. They had a 10-0 lead, and all of a sudden, this game's over. They're all looking up at the big screens here in the Superdome, and all they're seeing is Virginia Tech celebrations and touchdowns. They're stunned.
Well, Dean, you know as well as anybody, turnovers can kill you. Texas has had the ball 4 times in the 4th quarter, 3 interceptions and 1 fumble.
And another sack, the 5th of the day for the Hokie defense. Cornell Brown didn't speak to the media, but he spoke on that play. And here's the celebration penalty. Antonio Banks, number 9, getting his groove on there in the end zone. And like we said, when you hang out on Bourbon Street, that stuff will happen to you.
Well, you know, they changed the rule this year, and there really weren't many incidents all across the country with the celebration, the excess celebration. But, hey, this is New Orleans, and it's New Year's Eve, and they said, well, we're going to go ahead and break down here and get one for the home people.
Well, they broke it down all right, like science. 2nd down and 18. Williams out of the end zone. Ricky Williams lowered the boom on the corner. Number 9, Antonio Banks. And Williams is out to the 6-yard line. How bad has it been for Texas in the second half offensively? A couple of punts, 3 interceptions, and a fumble.
That tells it all right there, folks. I mean, you cannot turn the football over that many times and expect to win a game. Virginia Tech turned it over twice in the first half, and they were down at the end of the first half. Texas has come back and turned it over 4 times in the second half. That's why they're down now with 3:40 left in the ball game.
And Todd, it is 3rd down and 13. They run the counter. Ricky Williams has to get 13, got about 5, and he's short of the first down. It'll be 4th. Stick around after the game for a look at some of your favorite celebrities before they were stars. Sharon Stone, Richard Schwarzenegger, Michael Jackson, and more are featured. Matthew Local News, New Year's tradition America loves best. Dick Clark live in Times Square. New Year's Rockin' Eve, 96. Late night tonight here on ABC.
If you want an indication whether Texas thinks this game is over or not, here it is. They're going to go ahead and punt the football with 2:50 left in the game. 4th down, back in their own territory, trailing by 18.
Schultes, and this is Larry Green at the 45. Larry Green has played well today, out to the 48-yard line of the Longhorns. 44 yards of the punt, 8 on the return in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. It's 28-10 for the Hokies. History lesson from Mr. Todd Blackledge. What was that, Todd?
I believe it was a statue of Andrew Jackson, famous war hero, city of Battle of New Orleans.
Thomas running the ball that time out to the 40-yard line.
Partner, you sent your New Year's wishes out. I've got to send mine out to my wife Sherry and my little boy Harrison, celebrating his first New Year's, 7 months old, and hopefully he's asleep right now. I'm hoping so for my wife's sake anyway.
If he isn't, it's going to be a busy night. Send a little shout out to my son Shay. John Mackovic, obviously disappointed. And don't forget, coming up next, before they were stars, the likes of Sharon Stone and Arthur Schwarzenegger and Dick Clark. New Year's Rockin' Eve. Does that guy ever get old? Huh?
Him and Joe Paterno, they look the same every year, I'll tell you what.
Hey, you make any New Year's resolutions, Todd? I got one.
What's yours?
I'm off the gumbo. My cholesterol's got to be about 800. I mean, I've had gumbo, etouffee.
Yeah, that etouffee was something else.
You know, this time there's a special mention I'd like to make. Patty Prater is a big friend of the Texas Longhorn football program. She's recovering from surgery in Austin right now. And the coaches' wives and the team and the coaching staff all want her to get well very soon. And to get better. 2nd down and 10 with 2:19 to play. Virginia Tech leads in the Nokia Sugar Bowl 28-10. Thomas out to the 38-yard line. Texas with 2 timeouts remaining. And Kansas State pummeling Stanford. Kansas State, another member of the soon-to-be Big 12 conference. You know, if Texas does the right thing, they'll give John Mackovic a healthy contract very soon.
Now this game tonight, and really only this second half, not indicative of the kind of season that the Texas Longhorns had. They just got overwhelmed here in the second half, and it was really a span of about 5 or 6 minutes where the game just got away from them, and the Virginia Tech defense took control.
And Stoney Clark, the erstwhile poet, and present poet at that, has just been tossed from the game. And when you throw a man as big as Stoney Clark out of the game, you're a brave soul. Stoney,
you say, sir.
Ejected.
Sir, please leave the field, sir. Texas obviously frustrated, trying to get the football. And really the football, Dwayne Thomas gave it to Stoney Clark, and Stoney Clark threw it back. And as is mostly the case, it's always the second action that gets caught, and that time Stoney Clark. Plus, he, as you mentioned, he's too large of a target to miss. I mean, if you do something like that when you weigh over 300 pounds, and you're going to get seen.
Not uncommon for Stoney to walk into a club and start reciting some poetry. He's presently working on his own autobiography, likes to write. This time I'd like to mention people from Nokia have been extremely good to us this year at this bowl during the last couple of days.
We mentioned that Texas, the game kind of got away from them. In an 8-minute and 40-second span here in the 4th quarter, they had 4 turnovers, and that's when the game turned completely in the favor of Virginia Tech. And now it's just a matter of the Hokies kind of running out the clock, and a couple personal foul penalties gives them great field position to do that.
Let's go downstairs to Dean.
Guys, I just received a fax, and you know I try to keep on top of everything. My family's pretty upset. You know, you guys are up there pumping all years. They think I don't love them anymore. Mom and Dad, brothers, and all my friends. I love you, and see you soon.
All right, there you go. Now he's square.
I also told a guy that I would do this for him. John Boleyn, the recruiting coordinator for Virginia Tech. He and his wife just had a baby daughter, and he had to leave to come down to the bowl game. Her name is Jordan Gray Boleyn, and Happy New Year to Jordan Gray.
Split backs, now shifting into the eye with 1:50 remaining on the season. A fumble, and now it's ruled down at the 30-yard line. As we start to close out 1995. It is 20-10 Central Time. And right now, I'd like to thank the families from the people down in the truck. And Todd, this one's for you. I've watched you work on Bourbon Street a little bit. You're pretty good, and this one's for me tonight. I know they'll be making a little bit of noise down there in the French Quarter, and we want to be well prepared. We have a new quarterback in the ball game. It's number 5, Al Clark for Virginia Tech, and Thomas runs around the left end, and he's tackled at the 28. Look at Al Clark, his numbers on the season.
You know, Ricky Bussell told me in our meetings that when he came back from South Carolina this year, the other coaches thought that Al Clark might be the starting quarterback, might be the best guy for the job. But he said Jim Druckenmiller just kind of took the job into his own hands in the spring. He won it outright and has really had a productive junior season. But Al Clark is a guy that's got a lot of talent, a lot of ability, and a bright future here. Redshirt freshman out of Washington, D.C.
So on the last day of 1995, the Virginia Tech Hokies will win their 10th consecutive game for the first time in school history. This in their 9th bowl appearance. They are now 7-0, Frank Beamer's crew is, on the road this year. Before They Were Stars is coming up next. The ABC Sports banner located behind the goalpost has been inserted in this telecast through electronic imaging. Amazing technology, isn't it? 15 seconds to play. The 62nd edition of the Nokia Sugar Bowl, a bowl that will go down to the books, dominated by Virginia Tech in the second half, especially the defense.
And I think a real signature win for that guy, Frank Beamer, and the Virginia Tech Hokies, because you know this is a great win for them and a great win for people to realize who Virginia Tech is. They're from the Big East Conference. They're not in the ACC, and they play a good brand of football.
And tomorrow, more good football in the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl. Ohio State takes on Tennessee, followed by the Rose Bowl, USC against Northwestern. Cody Whipple in the ball game now. Today's game, produced by Jim Ressler, directed by Norm Sammet. A great job by all the people that you never get a chance to see on camera. The final score, 28-10, Virginia Tech over Texas.
Mark, we said it was the Virginia Tech defense against the Texas offense. Texas had 226 total yards, their lowest output of the season.
And that's the play that Frank Beamer didn't call today. For Dean Blevins and Todd Blackledge, I'm Mark Jones. The final score, 28-10. Folks, it was all good in 95. All the best and Happy New Year in 96. See you later.